Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are we doing today?
We are good.
Very well, thank
How,
you.
how, how is our day going? How was the work? For those of us that went to school, those of us that went to work, businesses, how was it today?
Thank God.
Interesting. So it's fine.
All right. Well, okay. We thank God. I think our doctor is already on standby. Dr. Dorothy, Dr. Dorothy Kingsley, good evening. Okay, she's trying to set her things. Dr. Dorothy, good evening. Okay.
I'm sorry for doing your thing. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm on lecture.
It's me that is saying sorry. First, he said you need to say sorry first.
Yes, Anaya. Okay. Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma. Good evening. It's nice to have you. We are still 11, so let's just see how to give a little time.
Dr. Dorothy, good evening.
Oh, good evening. Is it my network?
Good evening, Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor,
Good
Mrs.
evening.
Dorothy.
Good evening. Good evening.
Nice to have you.
Nice to have you too. This is connected. I don't know. Your voice is a little breaking. I don't know. I pray network does not disrupt us today. I just hope so. So right now we are 11. Let's see how to. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, it's very clear.
Is that
Yes, ma'am.
wrong? Oh, Ayo. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Which Ayo? I'm Ayo as well, so I'm not sure if it's me you're referring to.
Okay, Ayo Kumi.
Yes, I'm Ayo Kumi. I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much.
We are still maybe when we are just 15 or so, or 16, we'll start because we're supposed to
Okay.
we're supposed to keep to time.
Okay.
I didn't want what happened yesterday to happen today, so we're trying to see how to guard against it. So thank you for coming, all the early birds. It's nice to have you here. Blessing John Holt. Blessing Chimampam. I don't know if that's correct because when I see long names like this that are difficult, I don't like murdering people's names. So,
Yes, ma, you tried.
okay, please, can
It's
you pronounce that name?
Chimampam.
Okay,
Chimampam.
Chimampam. Okay, Chimampam.
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
So I
ma.
still tried. I used the English, the transcription
Yeah, you
of the
tried.
name in English. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome.
Fatima, yes, yesterday I was trying to find out who is this Fatima. I don't know. Fatima, can you hear me? Yesterday I didn't. I tried to
Yes,
ask.
ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, yesterday I was saying Fatima,
Yes.
and then I didn't hear. So it's nice to have you, Fatima. Trust today I'll hear more of your
Good evening, ma'am.
voice. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Okay,
All right.
gifts. Gifts. Hello, gifts. Hello, gifts. Can you hear me?
Good evening, doctor. I can hear you very well. How are you
Okay.
today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine. And this name, the last batch of people that actually did CNA with us, I have a man that's had this name. I don't know, but it's your surname. Can you pronounce it for me?
All right, it's actually pronounced Akime.
Akime, yes. I saw this gift. I was just wondering
Okay.
if you have anything to do with them, but it's nice to have you. You're welcome
Thank you very
today.
much. Thank you.
Infinix X6517. I don't know if that's Helen. Who has the
Good evening,
Infinix?
ma. Amos.
Good evening. Okay, Amos, I'm always confusing that Infinix with Helen's. Oh, okay, Amos
Abby.
Modupe. Yeah, it's nice
Yes,
to have
ma.
you. Welcome.
Thank you
And
very much.
who else have? Okay, Kemi Kemi Joy. Kemi Joy.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm happy to hear today. I want to hear everybody's voice at least in the next 5 minutes. We'll just start. Mildred. Yeah, we have already. So it's nice to have you, Mildred. Good evening. Good evening. That's your name. It will be difficult for me to forget it. That's the problem with these training things. You get to bond with people, and even though they don't see you, even though you are not close, but you get to bond with people. It's just like teachers. You teach, and when you teach, that set leaves, and you meet another set. So it's always this a form of a nostalgic feeling when you have to let go of people that you have bonded with. So that name, Mildred, is going to take me some time to forget. It's nice to have you here, Mildred. Okay, Miranda, Promise.
Yeah, Miranda is here. Miranda is
Yeah,
present.
good evening, doc. I'm here, I promise.
Nice to have you. Madam Promise, good evening.
Good evening,
You're
ma'am.
welcome.
Thank you.
Tehila and Madam Uchenna. I think we can, I don't know if I've
Good
said
evening.
anybody.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening and welcome. So it's nice to have everyone with me today. And thank you for those that dropped a word for me. You know, they say gratitude is a virtue. It's something that we actually have. I know we all have, gratitude. So when I saw those things, some people actually took out time to say thank you, regardless of the fact that they would have said, oh, after all, we paid for their service. We don't have to tell you what's, but I was really impressed. Really, I couldn't check because I was busy. But when I came towards this time, want to have the training, I just went through and I saw the comments. And to tell you candidly, most of the comments I saw there, I gathered it is what will really give me the energy that I need this evening to deliver this training. So I want to say thank you to everybody that took time to drop 1 or 2 comments on the platform after receiving the slides. So thank you so much. All right. So today we are just going to go to what we have without wasting time. We want to look at patient care skills. For anything we do, we need to have the skills. We need to have, we need to know how to do it. We need to learn the pros and cons, everything that is associated with that particular job that we are doing to ensure that we function effectively. Now, today we will not have too many slides, like voluminous slides, but we are going to do more of talking. We are going to do more of interacting because we are going to be looking at the practical aspect of what we would see. So I would like us to communicate what would happen if you see this, what would happen if you see that, because before we actually get to the practicals, I want us to interact, just dissect this particular topic. So we are going to be looking at the skills that patients that you should have to enable you interface and work efficiently with your patients, which is very, very important. If you don't know how to work with your patients, it becomes a problem, becomes an issue. Why? Because you will definitely have issues along the line. You will not be able to connect. You will not be able to work with them. You will not be able to interface with them, and so on and so forth. So this is extremely important for us to know how we can bond with this patient. Like I keep talking about bonding. I keep talking about you seeing how best you can interface with these patients, how best you can connect with them. Because I tell you the truth, if you can connect with a person, it makes it easier for you in any relationship that you embark on, whether it is a marital relationship, whether it is just maybe in a workplace. When you connect with people, connection does not mean that you drop your professional boundaries. No, that's not what I mean. Connection simply means you are able to ensure that there is effective communication between you and that person, and there is that rapport that you need to ensure that you do your job well. Now, we are going to be looking at it. So patient care skills is very, very paramount. It's very important for any caregiver, whether you are a CNA or you are a professional caregiver, regardless of whatever you are doing. It is more than important that you have those skills, because you are going to be interfacing with patients. I keep saying this thing. Most of the problems, the challenges that we have in the healthcare sector is because we have the wrong people actually in such places. We have the people that, one, they don't have the passion, two, they don't have the skills, they don't have the necessary skills that will ensure them to work and do what they have to do judiciously. Now, patient care skills does not really end with you and the patient, maybe how you relate with the patient, how you talk with the patient. No, it doesn't only end like that. It also extends to how you, a certified nursing assistant, will collaborate with other members of the healthcare team to ensure that you build the techniques, to ensure that you build the techniques is the right word. You build those techniques that you actually need to be able to relate with these patients and take good care of them. So it's not directly only about your talking to the patients or doing things for the patients. No, it involves a whole lot. Like I keep saying, and I have said, it is important that you have an amiable disposition. That particular fact cannot be overemphasized. In the healthcare, in the health team, I mean, in the health care work job as a whole, it needs people that are easily jolly good fellows, let me say so. People that put up a smile, though not sheepishly, that put up a smile. People that have this compassionate outlook. People that have an outlook to say, okay, you can talk to me. You know, there are some people that only the physiognomy of their faces alone can put a barrier. It's just like you want to ask when we're growing up, when you want to ask your father for something, or when I would want to ask my father for something, as at that time, I look for the mood. I look for the mood. I look for when he's in a good mood before I walk to him. Because if you go when his face alone is telling you otherwise, you will have yourself to blame. So that is just the way it is. Because we don't have that, like I can ask or not. My father can decide to give or not. So that one is a different scenario, but I just said, let me relate it. In the health system, you have to be approachable. That is the word. You have to be amiable. You have to have a beautiful disposition that a patient can just easily tell you what he or she is. But if you don't, if you are temperamental, if you are always complaining, if you are always shouting, you cannot achieve what you have to achieve. The reason I'm saying these things is we are going to be looking into, we are going to delve into a detailed explanation of patient skills, of the skills that we actually require to function as certified nursing assistants. It is important because, like it is here on the slides, you will build your trust with the members of the healthcare team. Trust comes into play. They can take your judgments. They can say, oh, no, if it's Mildred, okay, since that's coming from Mildred, or since that's coming from Ayo, Umi, you know, let's do something about it. That means it is real. You know, there's how someone can give you a level of trust that you can build with a person, that the person trusts that you have a good sense of judgment. You always do it right. So that is the kind of CNAs that I would want us to be, that you can always, is a go-to plug. People can always go to you. Patients will be free to go to you. Your members of your health team will be free to like, oh, okay, if it is Tehillah, no problem. I want her to be in charge of that patient because she knows what to do. Or if it's Promise, I want our Jessica, whoever, I want Jessica to attend to the patient because she's good. She can do that particular job judiciously. So we are going to be looking at a couple of things. And as we look at it, we are going to have examples as to understand what we are actually talking about, like I like to do. Again, I like to break down terminologies. I like to break in this line of work. Many people coming into maybe becoming CNAs and CACAs and caregivers and all that, some of them, because of what's happening in the country, are people that don't actually have the health background or health orientation. They are not coming from that angle. So you have to see as much as possible to break it down for them. So again, I crave the indulgence of experts to just bear with us as we come down. So we are going to be looking at these different processes. Listening, the importance of listening, active communication. Now let's move to the next slide. Essential skills, very important skills. Now we are going to be looking at the skills in two major aspects this evening. We are going to be looking at the attitudinal aspect, that's your attitude, your disposition towards maybe communication, compassion, your character, the character aspect of the caregiving job. Then we are going to look at the skill aspects, which has got to do with the ADLS, activities of daily living, how you actually coordinate these patients and carry out your job judiciously. We are going to be looking at it two angles. So the patient's care skills is what we have here. Patient's care skills. Now let us look at this patient's care skills. Are we together, please? You know, I like to ask. I think now we have made a good number.
Yes, ma'am.
So
we're here, ma'am.
Yes, we are.
Okay, 25. That's beautiful.
We are.
Okay, so right now we are going to be looking at care skills. Please let's mute our mic so that we don't have that challenge. Let's mute our mic. Jessica. Okay, Sarah. Okay, thank you. Jessica and Sarah have just complied at the same time. Thank you for complying. So what are the skills? As you can see here, you would see the diagram. Now, this diagram shows you the skills, the essential skills that every certified nursing assistant should possess. Every, not one, that's every. Now, the problem we are having in the healthcare system is because it is not every that has, but it's some. It's just some that have the necessary skills to actually do what they are doing. It's not everyone. So, but these skills are meant for everybody. So far, you are a certified nursing assistant. And by extension, like I used to say, this training is not only geared towards, you becoming a certified assistant. You need these skills in your everyday life. In anywhere you find yourself, you just have to showcase these skills because communication is very important. Now, we have the effective communication. That's one which we are going to look at as we go to the next slide, each one after the other. We'll do justice to it. So we have effective communication. We have compassion. You have to have that compassionate side of you. You have to just have humanity in view. Because if you have humanity in view, already you should have a compassionate side, because you know everybody should be treated equally. Everybody has the right to good treatment or good health care. And then as humans too, as you are a human being, so that part of you should come out. That is the compassion. Then attention to detail. As a CNA, you have to be very, very attentive to detail. There's something the Boy Scouts always say, be ready, be prepared. Yes, that's the motto of the Boy Scouts, be prepared. And it tells you that at all times you should be prepared, be alert, pay attention to details. Don't just allow water go under the bridge and you are oblivious of what is actually happening. You are not even paying attention, or you are not interested in what is actually going on, or you don't see it. No, That is not how a certified nurse assistant should be. Then we have the physical endurance, we have the teamwork, and we have the time management. So looking at this, we have the 6 major essential skills that every certified nursing assistant should possess. Okay, we are moving now to taking them one after the other. As we are going to be progressing in this particular, we are going to dissect it and take it one after the other. All right. Now, effective communication. I am going to be talking here. I'm going to delve a lot. I don't know why I really like communication. I like it because it's the bedrock of everything. The way you communicate with a person goes a long way in affecting whatever positive or negative reaction that will come out from that, your relationship with that person. Effective communication is very important. So we are going to be looking at it. Now, exchange of information clearly and effectively, that is just communication. However, you are going to exchange the information, whether it is verbal, oral, whether it is non-verbal. Of course, we know that we can communicate in different ways. We have the non-verbal way of communicating, like the Yorubas. The Yorubas can really relate to this, and you know, they would understand some, because I don't know if it's all Yoruba, so let me not generalize, but I have this Yoruba neighbor that whenever she's angry, what you see is whenever she is angry, or maybe she doesn't want to, maybe there's something that is actually getting her angry and she's just waiting. The sign you see is you see her shake her legs. That's, you see her shake her legs, shake her legs, shake her legs. She's pondering so many things in her head. Maybe the child is coming back late. Maybe the child is was not properly dressed, or she didn't do the chores, the household chores. So you see her shaking her leg, moving her head, shaking her leg, moving her head. You know, automatically, when people that know her, when they see that sign, or her child, this particular child, sees that sign, she knows that it's a red flag. There is fire on the mountain. So that is communication. I'm trying to break it. That is one way of, the mother did not even need to say anything to that child immediately, because the child understands the language. The child understands that is the mother's language. So she's able to understand the communication that ensues between them, telling her, okay, you know what awaits you, or you know what you are coming to see. So now, when we are communicating, use clear and simple languages. Don't be ambiguous. Don't use statements that the person, the recipient of your information cannot comprehend, cannot understand. Make sure there is comprehension. Just like we take comprehension exams, your ability to answer your comprehension questions very well depends on how well you have been able to comprehend the passage. That's to understand the passage. That is very in comprehension. If you don't understand the passage, there is no magic, there's no miracle that will happen. You would fail that particular questions that come from the comprehension passage. So that is just the way it is. When you are communicating with a person, the person should be able to understand what you are saying. If the person does not understand what you are saying, then it is not communication. As a CNA, you are talking to your patient, you are communicating with your patient. Have you bothered to pause and understand and find out whether the patient actually understands what you are talking or what you are saying? This is important. Sometimes we get to see maybe someone talking to you, communicating with you, and you are not listening. Like, you are just hearing what the person is saying. You are not listening. That is practicing of active listening. You are not listening. There is a difference between listening to a person and hearing the person. There are two different things. If I hit this table now, you can hear that sound. I have hit the table and you have heard it because of where your ear is, because of the position of your ear. So you cannot avoid that sound. You just hear it without even preparing for it. Just, you even ask yourself, what is that? What is that sound that I've just heard? But if you listen, if you are listening, it's a calculated attempt. It's something you put in effort. It's something you make a conscious effort to understand. So you are going to be having situations whereby your patient would communicate with you, will be trying to tell you something, trying to express himself or herself. It may not be verbally. That's why you have to be very, very, you have to be smart and on alert. That's to be conscious of these things, because it could be non-verbal form of communication. They are not talking. They won't tell you, oh, Fatima, please, can you get me this or can you get me that? No. They won't tell you, oh, Fatima, it hurts. My tummy hurts. I'm feeling pains. It hurts. They may not say that. But you should be able to understand when they are communicating something to you, maybe clutching the stomach, or maybe you walk into a patient's room, and the patient's hand is on the stomach and clutching the stomach. That patient has communicated something to you. So immediately that communication has taken place because you immediately understood that, there is something wrong. Then from there, you can then seek to find out better what is actually wrong. So your body language too communicates. That's how you talk to someone and the person has no interest in that. You are talking to your patient and or your patient is talking to you because it's more like that. It's more that way. You know, your patient is trying to talk to you, is trying to explain something to you, and you are not paying attention. You're not even interested. The patient forgets that you may think that patient is, maybe not fine, like we used to think, or maybe vulnerable, you can treat the person anyhow. It's a lie. It's a lie. People that are vulnerable, that are highly sensitive, their senses, they use it, is intact. Especially those that don't talk. Maybe they have speech issues, like they are not able, speech issue challenges. They cannot talk audibly. Those people are very, very alert to sound. They are alert to body language. The way you express, you don't answer them as if you actually have interest in what they are saying. It hurts. It hurts on a very fine day, let alone in a hospital setting when this person is already struggling with vulnerability, is already struggling with self-esteem. I mean, with a reduced self-esteem. And then the person will feel that, oh, it means I'm useless. I'm talking and this person is not answering. So these are some of the things. Communication is very, very important. It's essential in healthcare. It involves not only speaking clearly, but also actively listening and non-verbal cues, showing you any sign that you just try to understand the non-verbal cues that you see coming from your patients at any time. Very important. This particular point, you can relate it to a relationship, your relationship at home, your relationship, a mother and a child relationship. Your child is talking to you about something very important. Oh, mommy, when I went to school today, this is what happened. And you are like, okay, I've heard you. Okay, what happened? Oh, I'm busy. Oh, you are not even paying attention. Either you're on your phone or you're on something. If you do that the first time, you do the second, you do the third time, that child will not communicate with you anymore. The child will look for an outlet to communicate. And thereby, you are losing that child without knowing that you are losing that child. So communication cuts across everything, all facets of our lives. And so as CNS, we should relate it to the way we relate with this patient. We should, before we talk, just like yesterday, we had that vital signs thing, we should filter our words. Filter them. Don't be too harsh on the patient, and don't be harsh on the patient. Filter the words, and then when you filter it, it's just like you filter something, the chaff will float, then the main thing will be down. So it is that main thing that you should say, okay, this thing is like this, taking into cognizance how that patient would receive the information that you are passing across. This is very, very, very important. Now, take for instance, I'm going to give you a scenario. I told you today we have just 3 modules, yes. 2 modules put together, effective patient skills, care skills, and activities of daily living comes together because they are both skills, but separate skills. So today we'll have time to talk. We'll have time to interact. So please, I crave your indulgence. Feel free to share any experience. When you share your experiences, others learn from your experiences. I learn too, because nobody's an embodiment of knowledge. I learn too, and then other people, or your classmates too, will also learn from your experiences. So feel free. We'll have enough time today. I don't want us to do the normal theory, and reading. No, we wouldn't do that today. So this communication, like I said, is something that I'm going to take my time to do it. So pardon me if I take too much time here, but we'll make it interactive. Now, imagine a resident or imagine a patient. I'm giving you a scenario. Imagine a patient who is anxious about maybe a medical procedure, a patient that knows that in some hours' time, I'll be taken in for a medical procedure, maybe surgery, or maybe, a medical procedure, whatever, anything that's got to do with maybe surgery. Or any other procedure medically. Of course, you and I know how apprehensive it can be, how a patient could get apprehensive, knowing that, oh, I'm soon going to be, some of them think a lot of things. Their minds will go, as I'm going in there, will I come out? Will I do this? The apprehension gets much. Ask you. So you tell me one or two things, what you can do in that situation from your knowledge that you had over time. Imagine that a resident is anxious about maybe a medical procedure, and you as a CNA, what are you supposed to do? Maybe you approach, you walk in and you see that a patient that is under your care at the time is apprehensive or is worried because in some hours' time, that patient will be wheeled in for surgery. And you don't want to draw, you know that that's what the person is going, you know the person is going to experience that, but you don't want to draw a conclusion. At that particular point, what are you expected to do? Let me ask, what should you do as a certified nursing assistant? What can you do? Let me not give you, what can you do in such situation? Yes, the floor is open, please. Who is ready to answer that to help us from everything we have learned so far and from what we already know as seasoned professionals? What can we do? Okay, Modupe. Modupe,
Hello,
I have
everyone.
your hand raised. Yes, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
So, a situation like that, when a patient is anxious, maybe they want to do surgery or something for the patient. As a CNA, you will try to encourage the patient. You put him or her mind at rest that you should be rest assured that this surgery they are performing on him or her is not going to hurt him. You should just calm, put his or her mind at rest. So a CNA must try to encourage patients and communication. You have to communicate with him or her before the surgery.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amos Modupe. That's a beautiful answer. Okay, Mildred, I can see your hand is up. Let's hear from you.
Well, this is not yesterday, doctor, when you were taking us yesterday, you talked about, you said something that many of us have been actually doing the work of a CNA, CACA, right. You understand, without even knowing. So I want to share my own experience with one of my friends. Her third baby, so getting to the hospital when she was in labor, she was told that the baby was breech. So he's going to be sick. She had never had it before. So she quickly called. I went to the hospital to encourage her. And I was telling her that it is going to be fine, that it doesn't matter, even though she had her two babies, they have two children, through normal delivery, that CS is not a bad idea, that the baby is breech. It's risky for her to push and to continue waiting. That been in labor for over 4 hours. And I told her that the medical personnel, they know what they are doing, that she's going to be fine. In fact, when they were wheeling her to the theater, I held her hands, she was pulling me. I said, but I can't enter with you. You're going to be very fine. People see that. You see that I have had some people saying that the CS procedure is even better than normal delivery because it's not that painful and all that. It's when you come out, they'll still give you some pain relief to subside the pain. And she went in, and when she came out, when she woke up, I was still waiting. I waited because she's my friend, and was very, very happy. She said, Mildred, if she had known that she would have opted for CS for her first and second baby. This was the third.
Okay.
I gave her. She was fine. Thank you,
ma. Wow, Mildred, that's beautiful. One thing I like about you is you like to share experiences over time. In the other platform too, when we have had the other training, you were like sharing experiences, and that's beautiful because people get to learn a lot, and I have learned a lot myself as well. So Thank you for that. It's important that we do what we have to do, even if you are not a certified nursing assistant on a very fine day. There are certain things that is just of human nature for you to lend a hand to someone when the person is suffering. So it's important. So I have seen, thank you, Mildred. Augustina, please. The floor
Yes,
is
ma'am.
yours before we take
Yes,
Taylor and
ma'am.
then we go. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I was when I was on the ward, a patient was going to do appendectomy, and she was scared. She was very scared. But
Okay.
when it was time for her to be sent to the theater, she was so frightened. And then I decided not to talk about the surgery itself to her. Then I started talking about something else. Then we started laughing about the whole thing from the ward
Yeah.
to the theater. So it's like her mind and everything was even not on the surgery she was going to do. She said, and then when I handed her over to the theater nurse, in fact, she was still laughing at what we were discussing.
Wow.
She said from the beginning of everything, she was just smiling. And then she went off. The thing was done. And I
Yeah,
waited,
the
even though I'm
anesthesia.
close for that shift, I waited for her to come out. And then I told the one who took her for me that I wanted to wait to then bring the lady back from the ward to see how she's feeling. And when I went, I said, Auntie again, in fact, thank you very much. I
Wow.
don't know how this thing happened. And even now, I'm just laughing over what we discussed before I went to the surgery. And then when she came out, it's like her mind did not even go on to the
Yeah.
surgery that she was going to do. Yes, so for me, I always find things outside the word, discuss with them, then we all laugh over it. She went and then she came out. Everything was successful.
Was perfect. Wow, that's nice. Nice to hear. Even though I struggle to hear you some places, I think your voice fizzled out at a point, maybe network, but I heard it clearly. You see, it's a beautiful thing. There is nothing, let me tell you something. I don't know why I say things I don't know. I get so passionate about this thing at some point when we talk about, because you would not understand just one little gesture one little action that you are doing at a point where someone is at his or her lowest ebb or at the lowest state of vulnerability. You cannot imagine I don't know how to put it. You can't imagine how much work you have done. Some of us, we just do it and we just do it and maybe we forget, but those people don't actually forget. And it could be the difference between life and death. I tell you the truth. It could be the difference between life and death. So when we come face to face with these situations, we should do what we can. Communication is very important, depending on the scenario, depending on the circumstance on ground. You know, it's good for them to know, because of course they would, as a human being, they know I'm actually going to go for surgery, this and that. But at that point, what you did, Augustina, and what you did, Mildred, too, it's an honorable act. It's something that is honorable, because you are helping to save life. You are helping that particular person to go in there believing that he or she would definitely come out. So it's a good thing. I really appreciate that. Yes, I saw who is okay. Esther, can see your hand is up. Esther Adisa, please, let's hear you.
Yes, ma.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Esther.
I sometimes it's important for us to also feel what they feel as they're about going. Put yourself in such. What if after going? How will I feel? So at that moment, what you do is you can pat the back and seeing how the face looks. You know, the person will be agitated at that very moment. To be all right. It's just a simple procedure. It doesn't cost anything. Just try to encourage the person with good words that will make the person feel come alive.
Thank you.
So when the person goes in, the person has that assurance that it's going to be fine. So with that, you say that with smile and with concern, because you don't just say it because you want to say it. Let the person feel
that.
Yes, see what you feel, that yes, you are really concerned.
Thank you, Esther.
You can decide. Thank you. You can. also decide if you can decide just hold the hands and just say a little prayer, and then
To understand that doctors do not have the time. They don't have the well, I'm not trying to, they don't have the patience. Let me use that word. You know, they don't have the patience. They won't be as patient as you would be. They won't be as empathetic as you would be. They won't have the same impact on the patient as you, the certified nursing assistant that bonds better and that is closer to the patient would have. These are two things. So I want us to understand. The patient already will know, or the patient knows this is what I'm actually, of course, you can't will a person for surgery or the person about without the person even knowing what surgery am I going to, what am I going to be going to do, what am I going to be doing in there. You understand what is the procedure? Of course, the hospital, the doctors, the health people, the health workers around needed to have made the patient understand what the procedure is about. Signing, someone has to append signature. If it's a major surgery, someone has to append the signature. Maybe the husband, if in case of a wife in case of the husband, or, you know, a family member has to append signature before it is done. So obviously, the person is aware. But sometimes, just as you said, Tehila, sometimes the patient, despite knowing everything, is still apprehensive. We are human beings. The patient will still be apprehensive. So that is where, don't forget, you are not doing doctor's work. Your own work is more of I don't know how to put it, that's a supporting role, compassionate, you know, you are closer to this person. It's just like, let me give you this illustration. When I wanted to start boarding school, secondary school, sorry, I want to deviate a little, but I like using stories when I teach. So I wanted to start secondary school, and it was a boarding school. My very first time of leaving my parents, my father and my mother, leaving them. So it wasn't easy at all because I was already used to, and my mother being a teacher all through my primary school, I schooled in the school where my mother was teaching. So it got to when I needed to leave to go to secondary school. It was it was an emotional site. I cried that day. I didn't want to leave my parents because I have this bond with them. I was like, how will I go to a strange place? And I was quite young as at when I left primary secondary school. So, you know, all those things that we used to do when we were little, you know. So, but when I wanted to leave that day, my father did not give me that emotional side that I want. Me, I knew what was ahead of me. I knew I would not be seeing them. I knew I've read in between the lines. I know how school is. I know everything. This one, though, not medical, but I'm relating it to this medical aspect. Now, so my father was like, you need to go to school. You know, you have to go to school. He didn't even give me that face for me to do any kind of emotional thing to him. He did not. But the person that gave me that shoulder that I was able to understand staying in that boarding school was my mother, you know. So my mother was able to, don't cry, don't worry. I'll always come to see you every weekend. I'll come around, I'll send messages, I'll come and see you. I'll talk to you from time to time she gave me those soothing words that made me know that, okay, it doesn't mean that as I'm going to boarding school that they will just leave me like that. At least I'll still be talking to my parents. It made me happy a little, and I was happy to leave. So why am I bringing this scenario? Doctors, naturally, they don't have that. To a large extent, if you talk about empathetic, they'll just go straight to the point, tell you are going for this, you are going for that. It's going to be a simple procedure. You don't have to, and then they have left you. But now, that particular person needs either, that's why I say there are people that really do the CNA work that is even different from your immediate, maybe the CNAs themselves. You, just as Mildred said, it is at that time, that person needs just one or two soothing words from someone that is close. Just that singular action for you to say, oh, maybe hold the hand, or maybe you say, don't worry, it's not a difficult one. Once you go in there, you are going to come out alive. All we need is just to see your baby. And just those one or two words, you cannot imagine the extent to which those words can go and the effect those simple words can make at that dying minute. Not the one from the doctor, but the one from you. Why? Because you have bonded more and you are closer to the patient. So the patient tends to feel relaxed and has a shoulder, can lean on your shoulder, let me say so, knowing that you have that connection. So that is about the difference in it. But what you have said, Tehila, you are perfectly correct. No, you are very correct, because they will tell you the procedures. Yes, you have to know. And then if you know that this is what is going to happen, you can take it better. But I can tell you 70% that people that actually know what they are going to expect, yes, it gives them that understanding as to, okay, this is what I'm expecting. But what about the part B? If the doctor was able to give them understanding, what of the emotional aspects? Everybody you are a human being after all. You are a human being. So maybe you are just a very, very rare, rare person with some attributes. But you are very correct, Taylor. Thank you so much. So I saw Chimampam's hand. I don't know if I'm correct. Lifting
Yes.
up a hand. Yes, please. Go ahead and say what you have.
Good evening,
Good
ma. Good
evening.
evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, what I want to say is my personal experience. Understand?
All
So
right.
like one of us here said, it's good at times you get to feel how those people feel too. And so I've been in this shoe, like there was a time my first pregnancy, I had it with fibroid, and it was a big fibroid. Even the fibroid was bigger than the baby. So
Wow.
there was so much confusion everywhere. The doctor said he cannot do that it will be CS, but there's no way he can bring the baby out and do the fibroid because of my blood, because of my blood percentage. It was very low. Yeah, like 20% or thereabout. So he said it's too low. That is very risky. So by the end of the day, with my faith and all that, I told him to go ahead, because he explained everything to me, made me to understand what I'm going to pass through and all that. But he said he's afraid of the blood. So at the end of the day, the nurses, they were nice to me, honestly. My family was busy crying as if they're going to lose me, because they saw that it was a 50-50 thing. Because if you look at me then, you will not even know that I will survive it. But God helped me. So one thing that one of the nurses said to me when I was entering the theater was, he called me, he said, Chimamam, go in, I'm waiting for you. Understand? That was the encouraging word she gave me. Go inside, I'm waiting for you to come out. She was saying it, and I was looking at her. She was doing as if she was crying, but I really grabbed it very well. So I held on to it and I prayed. So I thank God everything was successful. I came out. They did both the baby and the fibroid together, and everybody was happy.
You are really, you are a testimony. You are a testimony.
Yes. So I've been through a lot medically. So all these things you are teaching us here, I understand each and every bit of them. Honestly, I understand. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Chimampam. That's a beautiful one. That's a beautiful one. That means you have to, for this story you are telling us, even though we were not around that time, it means you owe us. You have to make sure you give us airtime in the group, free airtime for everybody to celebrate that. That water. Yes. So you have to prepare yourself to give us our own share of the celebration. I am happy for you. I'm happy. It's a very low chance for someone to actually have that fibroid and have to give birth. It's not a walk in the park, and I don't wish anybody, but I'm glad to hear that. So sometimes we are welcome. We get to we just need someone to be around us at such times, even though we know the hazards. It's been explained to us. We need, just as Esther said, we need someone that would be able to, that will give you that shoulder, that will feel, what you are feeling by extension. That is just it. Okay, so we've had answers here. Calm him or her down and give words of encouragement. Thank you, Fumi Jerry. That's a beautiful one. So we are all together. Someone is saying, is this the first topic? Yes, it is. Today we are not going to do all those, we are just going to interact and talk. I have to hear everybody's name. At the end of the day, if I don't hear everybody complete, I'll call that person after this training. So everybody has to contribute. Then okay, promise. Wow, I love that waiting for you. Wow. Thank you. So let's progress. Let's move. Lillian, it's nice to read your comments. At this point, the CNA is going to be a true friend at this point. It's the same thing. Thank you. You have concord what we already talked about. That's beautiful. A true friend, because that time you need a true friend. You just need somebody to tell you that everything is okay. You don't need somebody to come and tell you, yes, we are going in there, they are going to cut off your tummy, or they are going to do this, or they are going to do that. No, you don't need a person that will just be firm and be delivering the pros and cons of what's going to happen. No, you need a person, because you already know everything, you need a person that will just give you that strength that you need to walk in there. So thank you for all your contributions. I guess I have taken everybody's own. So let's move, because anyway, we don't have too much like that today. We have to interact. So practically, we have talked about that. So why do we have all this? Like I was trying to say, we have reasons to make sure that there's effective communication. So you see, this communication thing is very broad. How you communicate in a way that you suit this person, how you communicate with your patient, how you pass across information. How you pass across information is very, very important. That is part of communication. It is holistic. Now, I want to give you, before I move, I want to give you an illustration of something that my mother once shared with me. Are we together? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm here, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so as
Yes,
I
I
wanted to share
Yes,
a
you can hear
story that my mother shared with me some years ago, and which made me to really wonder how people communicate. We are still on the communication thing. She said that she went to the hospital with one of her colleagues that was in that they worked together, one of her colleagues. So the husband was, her colleague's husband was in the hospital, was hospitalized, and he wasn't feeling well. He had some issues. So at the time the husband was on bed, the man used to deal with WAEC and all this marking. So the man was there. And it was important that they kept disturbing the wife, calling the wife. They need the scripts, because he went to the hospital. When that particular incident happened, they just bundled him to the hospital. So the wife went there to the hospital, but because of the incessant calls, they were calling and calling and calling, the wife had to answer, and they said they needed that result, they had to compute it, and so on and so forth. So the husband now managed to tell her, okay, please, can you go to the house and get this particular script, put it together and give to the team lead so that it will be computed as I'm in the hospital. So she had to leave reluctantly. She didn't want to go, but because it's an important thing, so she had to leave. So she left. When she left, the husband now had crisis. As soon as she left, it didn't take long. The husband had developed crisis, and that was how he left. Just dramatically, the husband just lost it, and before you know it, he was gone. So as you know, doctors, they don't, and people that nurses, healthcare, they didn't waste time. They just did the normal thing, covered the man with the white cloth and did whatever. When the man was pronounced actually gone, they covered him. So the wife now went home to go and get WAEC papers to submit. On her way back, as she entered, it's a general hospital. So from the entrance, as she entered, before she got to the ward where the husband was admitted, she met one of the nurses that was in charge of the husband. So the nurse just saw her. This one is not even CNA, is a nurse. Saw her coming in the way she was. You can imagine a woman that the husband is hospitalized. You can imagine her that kind of scenario. So the woman just entered, rushing back to come back to the husband after giving the script. The nurse just saw and said, "Madam, where are you coming from? You, since you left your husband, without even that tension and everything, you left your husband since. You left your husband. Okay, go and meet him now. Go and meet the dead husband that you left for us. So yeah, go and meet him. Wait. Immediately the woman heard it. This one is not fiction. Immediately the woman heard that information that the husband she left, she has come back, that she left at least still there. So it is gone. Straight, she just slumped. And they didn't know whether to go to the husband that was late or whether to attend to her. There was so much confusion. Why am I telling you this? Information dissemination, communication is very important. They would have, and until now, that woman is suffering that the after effects of the shock that came to her as a conveying that kind of news to her. And who did it? A healthcare practitioner, a nurse. Its information is very broad. In fact, anytime I have this training, I always say that information alone should have been a training on its own that would take maybe 3 or 4 days. I mean, communication. You understand? Because it's the heart of everything, and as well is also the heart of caregiving. Okay, so it helps us to build trust. Why do we excuse me, why do we actually need to effect communication? Because it helps us to build trust with patients and family, to communicate effectively. If you are good at communication, you can communicate effectively with your patients, with their families. Oh, they will love you. It's just like a teacher that is a child moves from that teacher's class to another class. You understand? The love for that teacher will still be top-notch. That is how a healthcare practitioner is. If you are able to communicate, you bond with a patient, the family, you can relate with them. They know that you are good at what you are doing. In fact, you have touched a life. And as such, you've touched many more lives that would have been affected from you ruining this patient's life as a healthcare practitioner. So that having said, we have the slides, and so we can still go to it. Let's move. Because when it comes to communication, I can talk endlessly. That's the truth. So let me check myself in the talking and let's move. So we get the next one, which is compassion. That's another thing that you should have. Compassion, a patient, a caregiver, a CNA. You have anything to do with patients, vulnerable people in the hospital setting, you should be compassionate. You should be empathetic. You should show empathy. Now, what is this compassion? A deep awareness of and sympathy for another's suffering. That's what Esther was trying to tell us. You must have this kind of awareness and sympathize. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Oh, see what this person is feeling. What if I were to be the one? The reason is that if you are empathetic and you can put yourself in a person's shoes, it's easier for you to relate better with that person, and it's easier for you to do the right things. On a very fine day, let's remove the health sector. Maybe you are interacting with someone and then something happens. If you slot yourself, exchange yourself and put in that person's shoes, you will be able to understand why that person is feeling like that at that particular point. And it will help you to make informed decisions. You will understand better. But when you don't understand what another person is facing, there is no how you'll be able to take care of that person or to do the things you need to do, because you don't understand what that person is going through. So as healthcare CNAs, if we are compassionate, if we understand another person's suffering, we'll understand the suffering of these vulnerable people. We'll understand that us shouting, raising our voices at them, scolding them when they accidentally, maybe they accidentally do something, or maybe they show you challenging behaviors, or they talk to you anyhow, you will understand why they are doing that, because you put yourself in their shoes and understand that it is the vulnerabilities, the illnesses, the sicknesses they have that has made this particular part of them to come out. Ordinarily, it would not come out. So that is the importance of compassion. That is the importance of being compassionate. That is one of the key skills that a CNA is supposed to have. Now, show empathy and understanding. We cannot overemphasize that. Understand what someone is saying. Do not interrupt people. Do not interrupt your patient. Your patient is trying to say this. You are like, oh, no. Right now, I have to move to the other ward. I should be in the next shift. I mean, I should see the next patient. I don't have time for that. And, you know, it's a whole lot. Those of us, thank God, we have a couple of people that are in the health, that are nurses, or, you know, maybe still working in the hospital environment. And we've had a lot too that have experienced these things by extension, maybe going to the hospital or happen to someone that you know. So it is something that we have to try to cope. We have to try to guard against. The little we can do in our own little corner, we are just about 26 here. If we can do this in our different settings that we are actually functioning as CNAs, if we continue, you do it, you showcase it, people see it, others can learn from you. And that way, gradually, we can try to change the perception. We can try to change we can try to erode the moral, the decadence that has resulted in this, lackadaisical attitude of health workers in the hospital and in hospital settings. So it is important. Offer emotional support and encouragement. Encourage them. Respect their feelings and their dignity. Regardless of anything you do, we'll get to activities of daily living, and then you will understand what I'm trying to say. Respect your patients. Sometimes you have to deal with a whole lot. When we get to activities of daily living, you have to deal with a whole lot of what you will call on a fine day that I'm not supposed to call, but I want to say it so that you will understand. Sometimes you can call it mess. You can call it messy, in the course of you doing your work, your job. You can have some situations that you come in contact with things that maybe messy, in this sense. But because, Jessica, please, can you help us? Thank you. So, as I was saying, you can come face to face scenarios where you actually have to do some of these things. Okay, thank you, Jessica, because I was about trying to meet you before that so that we don't have obstructions. Okay, so as I was saying, respect their feelings. At no point should you say something is messy. You are a healthcare. I've seen some nurses. I gave you an illustration the other day where someone in the process, maybe just, we call it accidents. That's how it is normally called. In the process of having urinary incontinence, the bed was messed up with urine, and so you need to see the way the nurse reacted, even knowing that it's a ward where there are other people. That alone shows that that particular nurse or CNA does not know what he or she is doing. It's just there by mistake. It's there by accident. Let me say so. So respect the dignity of people. Respect, have that humanitarian side. Just know that no matter what, nothing can be messy to you. It's just like a mother that has a daughter. No matter what, whether the child is sick, throws up on you. I don't know what a child can do on the mother that the mother can see it as messy. Or a husband can do, the husband can see from his wife, or about the wife, that can see it as messy, or as, I don't know, I don't want to use some kind of word. So what am I trying to say? Patient feelings is important. Dignity is important, because these people are vulnerable, because they are highly sensitive, because you are striving to work and ensure that their well-being is paramount. So you should ensure that you don't take some of these things in another way. Now, what is the importance? It improves patient satisfaction and comfort. It makes your patients comfortable. What is this thing trying to? Okay. It fosters a positive care environment too. That's another benefit. It's by the time you are with smiles, by the time you respect their feelings, by the time you are compassionate, it will make them tell you whatever issues they have. It will make them, like I said, this thing, you can relate it to any, if you are non-judgmental, if you are a compassionate person, you find out that people will easily tell you what their challenges are. And in this world of today, we really need people that are compassionate, people that will understand, that are not judgmental, that will not say, hey, you allowed this thing to happen to you. You did this. No, we should have people that will say, okay, don't worry, everything will be fine. Don't worry, just take it. People that will give you those right words. That's why if we have more of such people, we'll have less situations of suicide, of people killing themselves and ending their lives. So it is important that we have this attribute, that we have this character. Is very, very important. Okay, now if I want to give you an illustration, maybe a resident or maybe a patient is feeling lonely and expresses sadness. Maybe it's feeling lonely. Now, another thing is most of these people used to feel lonely. And lonely in the sense that they can just stay in maybe a patient, perhaps maybe a vulnerable patient, an elderly one that is passing through one illness or the other. You can imagine the things that go on in their minds. So many things run in their minds. Some would say, oh, am I going to just die like that? I have not done this. Oh, my children, oh, my this, oh, my that. All these things. So many things go through their minds. So now you as a CNA, lonely, maybe you see a patient lonely and expresses sadness. It is your duty to sit down with them. Don't always be in a hurry. Remember, we talked about ethical dilemmas where you have to say, okay, time. Yes, time is important. But sometimes you use wisdom. Sometimes these things are actually, truly, they are not cast on concrete. Some of the things you do in the healthcare line, you actually have to use number 6. Number 6 in the sense that you just have to use your discretion. The best appropriate measure for you to take at that particular time. If you have shifts to go around, you have things to do, and you meet someone that is vulnerable, what if before you come back, that person has actually carried out what he or she wanted to do? So it is very, very important. You sit down, hold the person's hand, at least give some words. Oh, I can see you are not feeling that you are feeling down. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay. I understand how you are feeling. It's absolutely okay to feel down when someone is passing through this. It happened to me, or it can happen to me, or it can happen to anyone. You are not alone. This is what you should do. Or you sit down there, hold a hand, try to see how you can empathize with this person and show compassion. It is just the way to go. It is the way to go in anything, in any aspect of our lives. Okay, now we want to look at attention to details. It is important that we pay attention to details. Very, very important. I cannot overemphasize that. You notice that maybe a resident's vital signs have changed from their baseline. What do you mean by baseline? Baseline is simply a person entering and the person's range of blood pressure, or maybe the person's temperature. The baseline is what is already down, is already the base. That's for the person to start the treatment, is already what has been documented from the start. But in the course of you attending to the patient in the hospital, you see that, oh, this person's BP was like, and it's increasing. It's a red flag. Something is wrong. It's different from the baseline. It's different from the statistics we had as at the time the person was coming in. So it involves you being observant, taking note of details, to ensure that you prevent error. Very important. If you see such a thing, it's for you to spontaneously, you should act immediately. Report to the nurse immediately. Oh, this is what I've just checked the temperature of so. This is the temperature. It's not supposed to be like this. It is too high. Even if you don't say it's not supposed to be like this, that's what you have sensed, because the nurse this nurse will take it up from there. The important thing is you report. You play more of a reporting role. You report, because you are the one that saw this thing first. And if what is paramount in your mind is the health and well-being of the patient, of course, you have to report. That is your duty to do, after all. So you have to report, and then it's taken over from you. The nurse takes over from you and continues from there. So instead of brushing it off, maybe you just see something like that, you brush it off, you just wave, it's important that you report it immediately. Pay attention to details. Be very attentive. Be prepared. Be alert. Be alert for anything that is out of the ordinary. Report bruises, you report. Anything you report. Mood swings, you report. Ensure that you report, because it helps in putting together the care plan, either updating it or taking some things out. It also helps in assistance. If you report, maybe somebody that used to need total assistance cannot even walk before, but you observe that over time, as you help with ambulation, the person is able to stand up and use one leg to move or to, of course, that's something you should report, so that it will help in changing the care plan or doing something about the care plan. This is very important. Ensure that you monitor patients for changes, which is here. Accurate documentation. We'll get to reporting and documentation too. And then you would see it is important to document, and document effectively. Don't document what you think. Document what you see. Don't document your opinion, but document the fact. That's the fact of this blood pressure was 50, now it is 100. Don't say this blood pressure was, this person's blood pressure was 50, and now I think there should be nothing about thinking, because that's your opinion. It should be facts, because medical, whatever care plan works on facts, works on what you actually document. They build upon it. So you don't document your opinions. Rather, you document the facts so that it can be acted upon. So reduce the risk. What is the importance? It helps to reduce the risk of errors in patients' care. It helps to reduce errors in patients' care. If you document, you pay attention to every detail, it is very, very important, because it will help you to avoid errors. It will help you to avoid errors and to avoid mistakes, which will help to make the safety outcomes, to make the patients better, produce better outcomes. Sorry, I had to move it. So that being said, please, are we Are we together, or have I monopolized the training? Talk too much.
We are together, ma.
You, ma. We're listening to you. We
Okay.
are together, ma.
Okay. Thank God it's only 2 people that are listening to me. I'm happy, because I said I'm together. I had only 2 people.
Yes, we are together, ma.
We are together,
We are
ma.
together,
We are
ma.
together, ma.
All
We are
right.
We're
Thank
together,
together,
ma.
ma.
you. Thank you. You know, when I hear the voices like this, everybody's
We are
voices, it
together.
makes me happy. So that I will not think that everybody have gone. I'll begin to wonder whether
Doc,
something
we
is
are here. We are it.
okay.
We cannot go anywhere.
Okay. Yes, I know, because this set, people are very, very attentive. There are some, I have seen it all. I've seen all the sites, the 4 sites. I've seen all sides of the coin. So I have 1 or 2 sets that maybe you would be saying, are we together? Are we together? One is in kitchen. Another person is saying, oh, we are together. They are coming there, listening to what you are saying. They are going to dish food for the husband. They are going to attend to what the children will put in their lunch boxes. And there's a whole lot of, so, but I'm glad that, at least these sets, they have not fallen my hand. I must say that. So let's continue. Thank you for listening to me. If you have any question, please drop it. Like I said, I am going to, okay, I haven't seen, okay, 9 new messages, really? Okay, we are together. Right on, ma. Okay, thank you. I'm definitely going to write on. So, like we said, attention to details. So another very important one is physical endurance. It's important that a CNA you have to have that stamina to carry out physical activity, because a CNA's duty is not easy. It needs stamina. It needs energy. Anything you have got to do with caregiving, it needs energy, especially in a professional setting or in an official setting. If it's the one in your house, no problem. Whether you have energy or not, it's your house, you can meander. But when you are working, you are being paid to do this job, you have to be at the best of your physical ability to be able to handle it. Now, like I like to say, let me just give you one comic relief. Yesterday, one of our ex-students, not CNA anyway, one of our ex-students, yeah, she did CNA, she did caregiving, professional diploma in caregiving level 4 with us, and she did CNA this last batch. So she called me and said she called me, she just wanted to talk to me. So she was like, oh, I've just gotten a job, I have to, she wanted to find out 1 or 2 things anyway from me. So after that, because she's 60, I think she's in her 60s, she's 60 something, the lady I'm talking about, she's 60 something. So she has grown-up children. So even before she took the training, she was like telling me, she said, this training, I want to take it, I seriously want to take it, but my children don't want. She didn't tell me the details. So yesterday she called me and said she had this job and her children refused to. Her children are big, so that the children refuse. They say she cannot go to anywhere. So she's a very funny person too. So she was like telling me, do you know what happened? My children were laughing at me because, I'm not feeling well. And even for me to carry myself is a problem. I sometimes my blood pressure, sometimes, I struggle with a whole lot of health challenges. And my age now, she was just trying to tell me, she said, my age, madam. And we were laughing. So she now told me that, do you know what my children told me? That they said the worst mistake you can do, mommy, is to say that you want to travel out to go and be a caregiver to somebody. So you go and be helping an elderly person, maybe to move, maybe to go into the toilet. You yourself, you cannot even move. You cannot even carry yourself from bed. She had to tell me, she said, these children shock me. I was just listening. They were giving me tutorial. I say, you are not going anywhere because how many times have you fallen down in the process of you moving from the bed to the kitchen? You want to because you want to relocate. You now want to go and take care of people. The stamina you don't even have. You don't even have strength of your own. So it will be very funny because you're going to leave somebody to mean you and the caregiver and the patient. Both of you will now act drama because you fall. 2 of you will fall on yourselves when you are actually carrying out this duty. And so she said she was angry, but when she told me in a way, I was just laughing. Me, I hardly get angry. That is who I am. I don't know why, but I just hardly get angry. It takes something to be very serious before you get me angry. So I told her, why are you angry? You need to live long. So anger cannot help you to live long. This living long that you need, that will help you to actually go and do the caregiving work. Don't mind those children. So why am I, but she felt really bad. I see what my children, they were making jest of me. They said, mommy, which kind of caregiver will you be when you cannot even care for yourself? So why did I bring that? it is very important that you do exercises, you remain physically fit, because you have to do transfer from wheelchair to bed, transfer for, with the right techniques. But despite everything we'll tell you, like we are going to showcase it in the practicals, you still need to have your own stamina. Your own, because you have to add your own stamina with the with the what do we call it, with the devices, assistive devices. Yes, for mobility, you need to have your own energy to be able to use that assistive devices and then to work with the person. So stamina is very, very important, and the duty of a CNA is tasking, especially when you go out of the shows, though it runs in shifts. But during the period of your shift, you have to maintain good health. You have to be healthy. You don't sleep on duty. Like I gave one illustration that the nurses somewhere, when I went to put to bed my first child, they almost killed my son because of lackadaisical attitude. Nurses that were on duty were sleeping. They had their own nurses room. They were sleeping, expecting that as I came to give birth to my first child, I would shout and scatter things, being first child now, all those drama. But I am not somebody that expresses emotions like that. That's just the way I am. So even though it was my first child, I was already like prepared, and I was already, and good enough, people around me didn't really tell me that labor is not a walk in the park. They didn't tell me. Maybe they didn't want me to be scared or something. So they didn't. So me here, despite the antenatal, I was like, I'll just go in and give birth. My mother would tell me, don't worry, I gave birth to 7 of you. As you go in, you come out, as you guys say, Mommy, amen. You understand? But she didn't tell me that as you go in the process of you pushing out the baby, that it's not for barefooted men. She didn't tell me that. You understand? So these nurses, I was already prepared, and I did not scream as they expected. They went to sleep. We are talking about stamina now. They went to sleep. They were negligent. And do you know that if it was not first child, like people said, I would have put to bed in the toilet, because I went to the toilet many times only to go, and I didn't see anything. I was like, what is happening to me? Only to come back. By the time, after the 3rd time they went to disturb them, that's when they actually came to check me. And by that time, the head of the baby was already coming out. So what am I saying? When we have to be physically fit, because if you are weak, you will be prone to going to sleep. If you don't do the right things to say, okay, my shift is in the afternoon. Let me take a nap. Let me rest, so that during my shift, I will not go and sleep. Or during my shift, there will be no weakness. I'll be agile. I'll be physically active to move and do my rounds. Maintain good body mechanics to prevent injuries. Very important. Be prepared for long shifts, because you're actually going to be paid for your work. And so when an employer pays you for your work, it's just like paying me to tutor you, and then I don't do it. Maybe now I say I'm tired, or I fall asleep, or I begin to do one thing or the other. Of course, Andy Smart Solutions will not want to pay me because of that. So that is how it is. So physical activity is very important. You have to be agile, because be prepared for long shifts, that will be physically demanding, to be demanding on you. So get yourself prepared, do exercises, relax with loved ones, make sure emotionally, psychologically, physically, you are fit for the task ahead. That is important to avoid caregivers burnout, and then to avoid fatigue. That's another thing, to avoid fatigue. That's you getting, burnout and then tired. Very important. And of course, if you work, every day you say, today I'm not feeling fine. Tomorrow I'm not feeling well. Next tomorrow you are late to work, and all those things. So it is important that just as you take care of the patient, you also make sure that you are physically fit, so that you will have what it takes to withstand the weather when it comes, the shift and the stress that is attached to a CNA's duty. Okay, so that is for physical stamina. Also, you know that one of the major things is activities of daily living. Activities of daily living. And that is like bathing, like dressing, like doing the necessary thing that you have to do for a patient is tasking. ADLS is tasking. So you need to understand what to do. Very important. Okay, so now teamwork. Important too is teamwork. Effort to achieve a common goal. You cannot work on your own. You cannot take a unilateral decision. You cannot be an island. You cannot stand on your own. As a CNA, you work collaboratively with other people. They are doing their own. You are doing your own. At the end of the day, it makes together. You can all join hands with the others to sanitize the healthcare system that we are talking about. It is important that you communicate with team members openly, you talk to the nurse, you have your opinions, you are free to share your opinions with the nurse. Remember I said, when you are documenting, document facts, not opinions. So it's a different thing. You can share your opinions verbally with the nurse. Oh, I think this is this. I think you can discuss, you can collaboratively work, do things geared towards helping the patient. You know, support each other in patient care tasks, support one another, support where you need to lend a hand, readily lend a hand, even with amongst you CNAs, lend a hand. Your colleague is, excuse me, your colleague is not doing well, like I get to see. He's not, maybe doesn't know how to do a particular thing, or you see that another colleague is doing something wrong. It is for you, that's teamwork. Because you have a dream, and your dream is to ensure that all the patients are safe and they actually have access to the right health care. You understand? So that is your goal. So it's like this. They used to say that teamwork makes dream work. So if you have a dream, for that dream to work, you have to work as a team. Teamwork is very important. So communicate openly, support one another. Oh, your colleague is not able to do this. Do not have, what do we call this thing? Do not have, like I talked about, biases. Maybe because the other person is white and you are black, you know, so you cannot help. Oh no, let him do it wrong. That's not my business. It's not my patient. It's not my ward. I am not interested. I'm here to work. I'm not here to look at what anybody does. So no, because the ultimate thing is the patient's safety. So if your colleague is actually doing something that is wrong, the colleague lacks the right knowledge, then it is in your best interest to say, okay, this thing, I'm thinking this thing should be done like this, or don't you think we should do like this? Remember, communication is important. Even as you talk to that colleague, do not talk in such a way that you know all, that you are Mr. Know-all, or you had a training from BCC UK. So that's not the way it is. That's not how no. You can share your opinion in a respectful way. Okay, this is, I think it should be like, don't you think so? I think if we do it like this, you know, in a mild way, that is proper communication. So you see that everything centers around communication. So it is important for us to get it right. Now, time management. We talked about this when we had ethical dilemmas. Sometimes you have to deal with many patients in a day on your shift. You have to deal with more than one, maybe two. Simply the ability to use your time effectively or productively. I have a lot of things to do. Okay, how do I arrange it? You put it on that scale of preference. You pick out the opportunity cost. You look at it, those of us that did economics. Okay, this person has a broken bone. This person, how to manage my time wisely to ensure that there's timely care and delivery to everybody. Also under this one too, sometimes you have a scenario where you have to take care of people with different challenges. There is something you would learn in first aid when we get to the CPR and first aid aspect any day, any of these modules. And when we have the CPR practicals, you would see that there's something they call triage. Now, what does that triage mean? Arrangement of situations depending on its severity. So it's this person. I have this to ask with urinating, with toileting. How do I order it? You look at all those things. Which one is of priority? Which one is necessary? Is necessary for me to do it first in order of it? Okay, in all, the person that is breathing, this person has breathing issue, I have to go and check that tube and just see whether the person is breathing well, not to go and change tube because you are not, that does not cover your own job description. So you think, okay, let me check that one. Or let it not be as I'm in this room, something is already there. Okay, let me check that one first before I go to the person, before I land in the person, I want to brush the teeth. You order your activities every day. I tell people, before you even go to work as a certified nursing assistant, aside our spiritual inclinations, whatever we believe in God, yes, we'll pray, yes, we'll do that. But wake up every morning as a healthcare worker, telling yourself that today I will do the best in wherever I find myself. In any situation I find myself, I will do the best. Just tell yourself that. Positive declaration. Just tell yourself that. And if you wake up, even if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, of which you should wake up on the right side of the bed, then you are going to work. Just make sure that you make yourself happy. Come with a happy disposition. Come with a mind of arranging, ensuring that you do your duties judiciously that day. You order your time, you manage your time. If you come with that mindset and you have the service plan of what you are supposed to do, fine, you'll be able to do it. And even in situations that you are not able to cover, it. This is my scheduling. You know, this is what I will do. I'm going to attend to Mr. John. I'm going to look at Mrs. Okon. I'm going to help her brush her teeth. I'm going to do. If you have it in place effectively, sometimes not everything is cast on concrete. Something can just come up. Maybe someone passing through a bad day or something like that. You know, it's very important for us to get it right. Okay, already I was looking at the time. So please, let's see, when it is 7:50, I think we'd have to pause. Today, I won't want to take your time too. 7:50, we'll take a break, maybe 10 minutes break, stretch our legs, and we'll come back. Like I said, today is not going to be boring. We are going to talk. We are just going to interface. We have videos, a couple of videos. I like to diversify my trainings and the way I train and teach, because of course, you know, like they say, like this, as they say, varieties, have to vary it so that you can learn in any way possible. You just get it right once and for all and add to what you already know. So we will take our break that time and then we'll reconvene when it is 7:50. So we'll take 10 minutes and we'll be back exactly 8 o'clock. I'm saying it so that in case anybody leaves, nobody will come and say, I'm not hearing anything. Are we on break or something like that? So as I was saying, it's important that we order our time. Very, very, very important. When you order your time, you would be able to get everything right. You'll be able to do everything that you need to do in the time that you can. If there is an emergency, it will be understood that there is an emergency. It would be understood. So it's not every time that you get to, you know, have emergencies. So at least one day, maybe, or 2 times, maybe some you do. So that's another very important point that we need to know: reporting and documentation. So that being said, I think we have been able to I needed to laugh. Of course, Fatima, you are really funny, really. You make a good caregiver because you have Fatima is saying caregivers will finally become vulnerable. So who will take care of whom? Yeah, that is it. It's just like a mother and a child. If you are at the end of the day, even when you are a little child, when you are vulnerable, of course, you'll still be the one that will take care of the child. That's it, especially if it's a small child. So that's it. That's why we keep emphasizing a CNA to remain in good health, a caregiver to remain in good health. Because when you break down, who will be the caregiver, and you ask yourself. So in as much as we we talk about patient, we are not oblivious of the fact that caregivers, CNAs, are also humans. We are also a human being. So we will have a module that will take care of that, that will talk to you. You would know the things you need to do when we get to mental health. That's why that mental health certificate that is given to you is very important. And that is why we'll have that lectures, so that you'll understand that you have to take time to rest. You have to go breathe in fresh, relax, loosen up, shake it off a little, and prepare yourself to continue doing your work. So, Fatima, do not worry, you wouldn't break down at all. you are not going to break down. Okay, so Yes, so we are done with that particular module of patient skills in the aspect of, in the combination, like I told you, we have activities of daily living and patients. You show compassion, you do your work, your teamwork, you do this, you do that. That's more of the attitudinal aspect, the behavior activities of daily in the few minutes, which I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work because we have just 10 minutes to go for break. I don't know. So I'm seeing that maybe, okay, let's see. Anywhere we stop, we will stop and then we'll come back when we are done with the break. So now, activities of daily living, ADLs. It is called ADLs. That's activities of daily livings. That's how it is called. That's why you have the S. The S does not stand for anything. It just stands for a plural. You pluralize the ADL. That's, you make it ADLS. So ADLS is simply those things that you do, those activities of daily living, you are expected to do it for your patients. ADLS, daily and then livings. As a CNA, you do a lot of things for your personal things. Personal, let me use personal. It's more relatable. You do a lot of personal things for your patients. Okay. Now, you are expected to do these things because it is a major skill. Remember, whenever we get to major skill, I'll let you know it's a major skill because we are going to dissect the skills when we get to the practical. We talked about vital signs being a major skill of a CNA. Now we are coming to activities of daily living being another major skill of a CNA. So when we get to the major skills, it's important that it is emphasized so that you really understand. So self-care tasks, those things that these vulnerable people ordinarily used to do for themselves. Now, imagine, I want us to just picture this scenario. Imagine waking up one morning and then realizing that simple task that you have, maybe you can stand up, brush your teeth in the morning, wear your dress, get into the shower, nobody follows you inside, you have your privacy, you get into the shower, you take your bath the way you want to take your bath, and you come out, you dress you pick up one day, you find out that these things have become a Herculean task. They have become challenging. You cannot do these things for yourself again. Especially the elderly ones, the old ones, elderly, or those that have maybe disabilities. These tasks can feel very, very Herculean, very daunting on them. Today, in this particular module of activities of daily living, we are going to dive into the world of these ADLs. We are going to look at it. And ADLs are not just tasks, but essential components of a person's independence and dignity. So it's not just a mere task of, say, brush teeth, take to the toilet, bath task, but they are essential components of a person's life, of a person's. Take, for instance, like me now, I want to take my bath. I go inside the bathroom, I close the door, I can wash any part of my body I want to wash. Nobody is there. I feel very free. But all of a sudden, if it's not like that, God forbid it, you can imagine the weight of how it will be on me. The weight of knowing you can't to be looking at today. We are going to be looking at that today. So imagine maybe assessment tools, it could be used as an assessment tool. What do we mean by assessment tool? It can be used to evaluate a patient's ability to, patient that came into the hospital was able to maybe brush the teeth, maybe if it's morning, or she can brush the teeth, do some things for themselves, and after, the person cannot do these things again. It will help serve as a form of evaluation for the patient. You will know that that means the patient is getting worse. You understand me? And will help to determine the level of independence. You know the level of a person's independence. What are those things the person will be able to do for himself, and what are those things a person is not able to do for himself again? So with this, with observing the person's trend in the ADL, in the care or assistance is needed. You know, we keep care plan is not cast on concrete. It keeps being upgraded. If the person is better, say for instance, someone comes with leg injury, has mobility issues, and over time with the proper medication and treatment and all that, the person is getting better. As at the time the person came, the person is not able to carry out ambulation, maybe movement, has mobility issues, of course, you know, with that kind of accident or with that kind of challenge, you know, but with the is able to now walk. Work as they can do for themselves by themselves to help build their independence. To help make sure that their self-esteem is not of other as. So it is important for us to has to change, and then they will update the care plan so that the level of assistance that you, the CNA, is giving to this patient, it will shift from that direction. You will no more be the one that the patient will rely on fully to have the ambulation or the mobility done. Patient will be able to do some of these things, changing in the positive direction, which has to be documented. So that's one of the importance of these activities of daily living. And of course, it's when you actually carry it in this thing, where the person, in the treatment, where the person is actually improving. It also supports dignity and independence, like our independence. Now, looking at it in detail, because our time is just 4 minutes to 10 to 7:50. So if we get looking at this, it's going, it's going to we go for break. So, but I want to just share something with you before we go for break, and then we come back to look at the ADLS, the way we are going to look of a CNA. So we'll really delve into it before we watch the video that we have for this evening. Now, take, for instance, maybe just take a moment to picture a grandparent, maybe those of us that had our grandparents with us, you know, that still have or had with a grandfather, or your neighbor who once thrived on independence, was able to go to the market, was able to, you know, do things for himself or herself. Your grandparents, they enjoy preparing their meals, maybe gardening, doing things like that. But now, they struggle with these activities. They struggle with it. They are not able to do it with age, maybe with the challenge that they have. They struggle with it. How would it feel, you as a CNA, or you as a family member, or you as maybe a grandchild, or you as maybe a child, you watch this thing firsthand? How would it feel for you to witness their frustration or their helplessness? How would it feel? Now, this is where you, as a certified nursing assistant, steps in. Your duty, your role is not just to assist to carry out this ADLS, but is to empower them to regain their independence and their self-worth. That is the main thing. The thing is not you to maybe be happy that you're actually doing the ADLS for them. No, it's because there's no option. That's why you are doing it. But the joy, the happiness, and the relief in you will be that these things that are able to do it with treatments. Oh, my grandmother is not able to walk. She can then go to the market, she can move to here, or like a patient, she can stand up, walk on her own and go. So that is where your duty, that is where the joy comes in this line of our job. It is for you to see as much as possible, to empower them. Give them all the things they need, the compassion, talk to them, all the skills you have, wear them as gloves in your hands, and ensure that you help them to build and empower, regain this independence and their self-worth. Because like I always say, and I say on my hand, than the inability for the person not to be able to do the things that he or she could do before. Now you become anyhow. Like I talked about my father, when that thing happened to my father would look at himself I guess if he could really tell us, if we could walk into his mind, he's looking at himself and saying, oh, is this how life can be to me? Is this how life can be to me? You understand? So these are situations that could get very emotional if you are there to see. You know, especially somebody that is not maybe it's not very old like that, that you know that age will make the person not to be, maybe just one sickness that just life has just happened to that person in a negative way, and the person is now relegated to the background. So these are some of the things that, you know, could happen when you need help. You need help. And someone that was very proud, you know, goes to the market, does shopping, does a lot of things, can move, you know, all of a sudden that person is now relegated. I tell you, if not properly handled, you kill that person faster, that person moves faster than the normal time God has earmarked for the person to go. That is the truth, because these things come with reduction in self-esteem, comes with reduction in self-worth. And what can you do is to help in every way possible to build their independence, help them regain their independence if possible, and their self-worth. So that having said, I don't know, I can see that from that 27, now we are 24. Some people have gone to rest before the break. They have gone to rest before the break, saying that Dr. Mrs. Dorothy, you keep talking, let me go and rest. Okay, so are we together? I need us to confirm before we go for the break. Are we all together?
Yes, we are
Yes,
together.
yes, ma, we're
ma.
together.
We are together.
Okay, so now,
ma.
thank you. So let's just take, so that we don't become, you know, Fatima has asked that if we now become the patient, what will happen? So I
What will
don't want
happen? We don't
anybody.
want to be patient.
Let us, yes. So let us go and relax our legs before
We come
God
back.
forbid. So let us, yes. So 10 minutes. We'll be back exactly 8 o'clock.
All right,
Thank you.
Well,
All right.
thank you.
No, you can. Mama cannot reach you. Only your stomach cannot come out. Come out.
Yes, we are
Yes,
back.
ma, we are back, ma.
Okay. I hope we're able to get something, a cool
Yes.
drink, just relax.
Yes, ma.
Okay.
Yes, ma.
Thank you. Welcome everybody. So we're talking about assisting with activities of daily living. There's ADLS, activities of daily living. And I was just giving you some illustrations that will appeal to the humanity in you, so that wherever you find yourselves as certified nursing assistants or any role you play in the health sector, you will not lose guard. You will not align with the anomalies that are already that we are already trying to fight against, that is already present in the healthcare system. So we need to, one major duty of certified nursing assistants is activities of daily living. So we are going to take them one, at least the major ones, that there is no way you cannot have something to do with this ones that is here. So we want to look at assisting with bathing. Very important. While assisting a patient with bathing, maintain certain things. We are going to be looking at it as we progress. So, and I'm going to be talking about it. Maintain hygiene. What's the purpose of you even bathing in the first place? Is to ensure that the patient is clean, at least maintains that hygiene. Take, for instance, you are there, or I'm here, for the first day, 2 days, I don't take my bath. You know what that means. It can result to, and not just anybody, but look at the vulnerability. Someone in the hospital or someone due to age, those that are susceptible. Let me use that word that we used the other time, susceptible to having infections and getting ill. You know, they could have comorbid situations where you find a patient that has more than one illness. That's comorbid situation, where a person has maybe dementia, maybe has another illness or something different, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's disease, whatever. You know, so such people, anything and everything you can do to ensure they are happy, to ensure they are clean, maintain hygiene, very important. That's why the bathing even comes that's why we are talking about the bathing as one of the duties. Now, when you are even bathing, all these things I'm saying, these activities of daily living, most of them will do them when we are having the practicals. But like I told you, I like to do my explanation, because during the practicals, someone else will do a specialist in that field will actually handle it. So me, I will just be talking, just be talking and talking. So it's better I explain to you now, so that wherever loopholes or anything, you can just fill it in with the theoretical aspect that you know, but we showcase the practical. So while bathing, be it bathing in the bathroom or giving the person a bed bath or a sponge bath, whichever one, it is important that you look at certain things. The techniques, if you see from all those activities of daily living, we are going to be looking at the purpose, and we'll look at the techniques for all the slides. So the purpose is to maintain hygiene and skin integrity, to ensure that at least that skin has integrity, in the sense that at least the skin will look okay, the skin will be void of wrinkles, will be void of all those things that, infections. Good. So use appropriate water temperature before you mop, before you give a patient bed bath, either in the bathroom or on the bed, a patient that is bed bound. Ensure that it is appropriate. The temperature of the water is appropriate. Don't just go and get water, mix it, carry it, and begin to do what you know how to do best. No. Make sure it is appropriate temperature. And to you, your appropriateness may not be the same as the patient's appropriateness. Don't forget that whatever you do with a patient, you carry them along. You let them know what you want to do. They understand, like they have informed, and they give you informed consent. You see how we will do it. You have to ask, oh, I want to give you a bed bath. Are you okay? You do the normal pleasantries first. You walk in, oh, please, this is what I want to do. Is it okay for me to clean you up now? Is it okay for me to give you? The person has to say yes. If a person says no, it's a challenge. If a person says no, it's a challenge. You have to try to see how the person can say yes, or you find out why the person is saying no. And if there are reasons that that can come into play, then you can as well move and take care of another person. Maybe by the time you come back to the person will be, the patient will be ready, because of course you should carry them along. you should carry a person along. Don't take the state of the vulnerability. You want to do what you want to do. Okay, it's time I want to clean. And the person is like, no, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm not ready for it. You said, no, I have to move to the other ward. I have to attend to the happen feed. So person. If you are not ready, I'm out of here. You show your normal, not you, but most of us, we show our talents. Some of us, we have inbuilt talents, but it's just this caregiving thing that will humble most of us. You understand? So, but if we want to be humble, then we should be humble in all aspects. So even when the person does any kind of behavior, you don't mind to go and come back. You find out why the person, you validate, okay, I'm saying that you are not in the right frame of mind or you are not prepared for the bath. Okay, would you like me to come later? Would you like me to come? Okay, when would you like me to come? Especially if the person is, illnesses is different. If it gets to the stage, it degenerates to the point that the person cannot comprehend or coordinate. That's another different thing. But for a person that can still communicate, then you need to, at all times, seek the person's consent. Then again, the water, you have to let the person touch the water so the person can know the temperature, because the way I like my water to be may not be the same way maybe who Adeswa. I've not seen Adeswa on this platform today. I don't know if I'm wrong. Adeswa, if you are here, please let me know, because I've just remembered today. I said I'll call everybody. So for instance, maybe okay, not Fatima, because Fatima already gave us comic relief. So let's say maybe a Mirabel. Okay, Mirabel is still Adeswa. Let's see who else. Okay, for Lashade and Ifowoshe, let's assume, that the water that Folashade used to take her bath, she prefers warm water, and I prefer hot water. That's water that is hot. There are some people have different preferences. And of course, the patient's preference should be important to you. You understand? So let the patient test the water, feel the water, use the elbow. You yourself, you can use your elbow and feel the water, because your elbow, the skin of your elbow is not your palm. If you turn your palm and feel it, or you use your thumb and touch the water, don't forget that there's an element of your palm, which is the hard part of the skin. So you may not actually feel the water, but if you use your elbow, the part of your elbow, that's the most sensitive part. You use it, you put it inside the water and feel the temperature, or you tell the patient, most times it's allowed to, please, can you just feel this water? I need to know if the temperature is okay. And the person will just feel it and say, okay, the water is okay. Or no, it's a little bit too hot. Can you do this or do that? Or it's a little bit too cold. So these things you must take into consideration. That's showing respect, showing that that person is a human being. Also, need privacy and comfort. Too. Privacy, we cannot talk about taking care of your patient. Ensure privacy. We have the screen, we have the curtains that are available in the hospitals. We have private rooms. You can equally close the door, when you want to do these things. You give your clients privacy, total privacy, cover up. Even when you are doing the bed bath, expose only the part of the body that you are actually cleaning. Don't just say because you want to do you want to give your patient bed bath, you remove all the clothes on the body. No. Not like that, because I've seen it done somewhere and I was just wondering which part this person actually learns this work that person is doing. I was just wondering. So you don't expose all the body. You want to clean the face? Fine. You clean the face. And while the face is cleaned, the other body should be closed. You want to clean the chest for women, maybe you want to clean the breast, you need to lift up the breast way and clean underneath the breast where we have germs, for those people that are really busty. You have not germs, but sweats at your bra and all those things accumulate under the breast. For the women, you want to do all those things. You clean, you ensure that you give privacy. You say, okay, I'm done with the legs. Let me cover this lower part of the body, the legs. Let me only expose the breast area so that I can lift the breast and clean. And, as you progress, all those things, ensure privacy. You want to clean maybe the perineal area, you cover the top and open the side that you want to clean. Don't expose your patients, and give privacy and comfort at every point. Anything you do, let your patient be comfortable. Don't say, okay, I want to clean, you turn, and the person is not even comfortably positioned. You just want to do your job and move. Like I've seen, so you want to just move. Oh, time, and all those time. So if you chase time and you forget doing the actual thing and the patient's safety and the patient's health, if you order it in scale of preference, which one is more important? You can answer that. So when we are doing these things, we should be careful. Use equipment that are appropriate, maybe like shower chairs, access for skin issues. If you have skin, if the patient has skin issues, in this case, maybe you know how to clean. You don't just say, okay, clean. If a patient that maybe has issues with the skin, you know you have to be mild when you are cleaning this area. So we cannot overemphasize that. We cannot talk about it too much. Privacy is very, very important. In this age of social media, if somebody wants to do you bad, as you are doing that and you expose the skin, they take a photograph, maybe a naked photograph of a patient, and it gets, you know how the world is, internet, you will explain and you will not be able to explain again. So aside that, just to ensure that your patient is feeling a sense of self-worth, like, oh, I am worthy, no matter that I have a little bit, I have dignity, you know, to dignify your patient. Let me say, so in that state that your patient is, despite the vulnerability and the illnesses, you have to give privacy to your patient. Cover, use the screen, use the curtains, cover the parts that you need to expose. Very, very important. All right, now let's move, because this is our time. Can be funny to make me to come and exceed the time I should be here today. I don't want to. All right. Now, assisting with dressing. 2, encourage and help select appropriate clothing. Depend on the challenge that the person has. There are some people that maybe they are recovering from a stroke or something. You have to be very, very careful. We are going to see it when removing when you are assisting with dressing someone that maybe has a stroke, what to do. Which hand do you dress first? Which one do you dress last? We'll get to it. I don't want to preempt what you would actually see physically. So assist with difficult items, maybe with buttons, with zippers. Remember, assist. Assist, that's to say, if you have someone that has a shaky hand, is having having maybe an illness that affects the hand. I don't want to use medical terminologies, just ordinarily maybe cannot button, cannot pick, things like that. You can help with the buttons. Parkinson's disease, or maybe has any of those issues. You can help with the zip. You can assist. You can even hold the person's hand and the person will zip the thing, will zip the dress, still giving that person some level of independence over his or her life. Don't say, oh, because the hand is just shaking. Okay, let me just zip it. Please, can you just let me zip it? Just move it, zip, and off you go. No. You should at least let the person try to zip, and then you see the hands are shaking, the person will not be. You can help steady the hand for the person to zip it, and that's beautiful. It still gives the person some level of independence, over his or her life. Adapt dressing techniques for mobility issues. Now, mobility, ambulation. You cannot have a patient that is struggling with movement and the patient has to wear a maternity gown or a spiritual gown. I don't know. Those are the names I use to refer to gowns that are very long, that sweep the floor. So the kind of dress when you are assisting with mobility matters. The footwear, low shoes, these people have on any little mistake, they can slide and fall. Any little action from your end, you can make them land on the floor. And it can have devastating outcomes, from little mistakes. So they are dressing, what they wear on their legs, what they wear on their body, all these things are things that should be noted. When they go for ambulation, they should wear some things that are not too short, things that will not interfere with their movements. They should wear shoes, little soft shoes, that they can just wear, around, just moving around, taking fresh air around the environment. Adapt dressing techniques for mobility issues. That is what I'm just talking about. Shoes and clothes. Then eating too, like you can see this lady doing, take your time. Eating time is a bonding time. Eating time, even in a family, eating time is a bonding time. These patients may not be your family, but you want the best for them. So when it's time to feed them, don't be in a hurry if they need that assistance. Like I said, not all patients will need assistance with all these things. There are people that can feed, they'll be able to feed themselves. So all you need to do is to ensure they have the right food, it is arranged well, it is there, and if you sit down and watch them as they eat. But there are those that cannot even hold the spoon. So you have to help. These are things that are important. Set up the meals, cut the food. Maybe for those that have issues with swallowing, dysphagia, there's a sickness, there's an illness that affects people that they find it difficult to swallow, even saliva, they struggle to swallow. So if you have patients with dysphagia, make sure that the kind of food is such that it aids swallowing. Maybe something that is liquid, something that they will not really struggle with the swallowing. These things are very important. Of course, it will be in their dietary plan too, because of the challenge that they already have. The utensils, how to swallow, and so on and so forth. Okay. Assisting with toileting. We have different toileting assistive devices for toileting. We have the commode, we have the bedpan, which we are going to see in the practicals. We have the urinals. We have the urinals. We have a lot of them when you need to actually go. Like this one, you can see commode is a movable toilet. So if you have a patient that maybe to move out is a problem, it can be kept close so that the person is done with it. You empty it just as you empty the bedpan with the urine and all those things. You empty and you keep it clean, like we are going to see when we do the practicals. So these are some of the things. Assistance on patients' needs, you know, when they need to use the toilet and all that. Monitor for signs of discomfort or difficulty. Good hygiene, skin integrity, we already talked about that. Managing incontinence. Incontinence on its own, it's an illness that sometimes you see that we have different types of incontinence. The one that maybe some people, because they have that disease, even when they laugh or they cough, it brings out urine, you know, from their bladder. Urine escapes from their bladder. It is a challenge. So if you have such patients, you should understand that they are humans and bear with them. You should not make it more embarrassing, more difficult for them to handle that kind of embarrassing situation. You should not compound issues for them. So such people, you help them, you encourage them, let them know they are not alone. It's a treatable illness. You can always tell me how you are feeling and so on, because a whole lot of people, if they are not admitted in the hospital, it's very difficult, especially a woman, to be able to tell another person or even another woman that this is the challenge that I have when it comes to such very personal things. But you as a CNA, and if you have a situation whereby you have a patient like that, you should not increase the problem the patient is already having. That is what I am trying to say. Very, very important. So you can help manage incontinence when they cannot hold urine, when they cannot handle urine. And it's advisable, like let me also use this for those of us that are not in the health field, it's advisable that you don't hold urine. Some people make the mistake of doing that. You don't hold urine. Whenever you want to ease yourself, use the restroom. I don't even mean vulnerable people. I mean you and I and everybody, because the more you hold urine, it's affecting your bladder. And it will come to a point, especially as you age, our decisions in the earlier, you know, you begin to move like that. In fact, I tell anybody above 40, well, it's in the younger days, have a way of coming back to you if you did not follow the right pattern. So don't hold urine because it will affect your bladder. And one thing I don't take, I remember one, and one thing I don't take, I remember one of the days my result had reporting teachers except extremely necessary. I don't do that. But I had to get to her because I can't take any other thing. But you saying that my child should hold urine, she said, Mommy, and I had to stay. The urine wanted to come out. It was doing me. Those are some of the things that we actually see day to go around doing our job. So belt, we have the belt that we are going to see when we have the to transfer, ambulation, and so on and so forth. We are on a patient in bed to occasionally turn the patients. We are going to learn the skill to avoid our bed sores. We also have personal hygiene too. That's another one that like personal hygiene, taking care of the patients. CNAs do this, caregivers do it a lot because you have shaving, doing all these things, helping maybe with shaving, maybe helping helping the patients, cutting the nails, trimming the nails, and doing a whole lot of things. But at this point, it's very, very important to state that if a patient has diabetes, any patient that has diabetes, you don't do anything pertaining to nail or hair or anything that you want to cut or you want to open or you want to pierce. You don't even try it, because if you do that, it's going to have adverse. So if you have a patient that's actually diabetic, then don't go there. Don't go there at all. don't even go there. Consult a nurse if you have the nails long, or if anything, they have the techniques, they know exactly what to do. Not that because maybe we are doing activities of daily, you say, oh, this is my patient. I love the patient so much, and the nails, let me just help the patient to know because of that diabetic condition. Use warm water, mild soap to clean. Yes, this place is what I was saying. Cleaning the anal areas, maybe cleaning. And then I must say at this point, cleaning the female, how do I put it? Perineal area. Yes, that's perineal care, cleaning the perineal area. It is important, even aside being CNAs, if we have daughters, if we have wives, if we have mothers, if we have female children, female, that is grandmother or whatever, if females, we should most importantly enlighten them that when you clean, when you use the toilet, you have to clean maybe with wipes, with mild wipes or tissue. Please clean from front to back. Wipe from front to back. Clean from your vagina through your anus. Why it is so is that it is very easy to take infection from your anus up across your vagina for us, the women, because of how the body is. So it is faster and easier to do it that because from your stool, from anywhere, from the back to front, germs can come in. So always clean, always do the cleaning first when you ease yourself or you do anything from the front to the back. Even when you use a towel, you are done bathing, always clean in such a way that it is from front to back. If you start teaching a daughter that is small now, as she progresses, she will take it all through her life. It is important to prevent infections. That is the main reason. And so as a CNA or as a caregiver, or wherever you find yourself where you have to take care of a female and to do perineal care, this is very important. And the dignity part of it too. Do not at any point, maybe you are cleaning, you are entering the toilet, you say, oh, no, I don't even know why I'm, all those kind of things. Because when you are assisting these people, they look at your faces. Okay, and if sometimes you can decide to give them privacy, maybe for somebody that has mobility issues, you're actually taking the person to the toilet and the person is done with everything, you have to clean. The person cannot do that if that's part of what you have to do. If you are to clean, do not show faces. What I mean by faces, do not show gestures that will come as embarrassing to the person that you're actually taking care of. You know, sometimes maybe you have a child uses the toilet, maybe a child that has eaten one food, egg or beans or something, maybe uses the toilet. You, the mother, maybe you have entered. Get out of that place. Oh, you have polluted the house. Please. That person should help. Says as per perineal care and toileting can become very embarrassing to someone. So if it's somebody that can do some of these things, you can take the person to the toilet and turn your face. If you can, maybe you see the person is feeling, you can turn your face the other way, allow the person to take care of himself or herself before you help with the movement, the mobility, if the person is capable of doing that. So I don't know if we have any question to ask, but if we don't have, let us quickly see what we can do before our time. We have this video. I guess nobody has any question. Any question? Should we go ahead?
Go ahead, Ma. Go ahead so that we can check for this stuff.
Okay. So, all right. So right now, I want us to look at this video. Let me call me and Deacon. I just want us to, this video is just going to maybe buttress the things that I have talked about. So let's see how to go about it. I want to pick the share computer sound. All right. Let's see. All right. So let's see. I want to know if you can actually hear. If it is audible, then we can ride on. Where is it not playing?
Caring for veterans with dementia can be both rewarding and challenging. The VA has developed this training program to help you.
This is it audible enough?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma. Yes, ma.
Yes, ma, it is.
Okay.
To address veterans with dementia. In the following scenarios, you will first
Sorry. I wanted to put it in slideshow. It's better that way.
approaching a veteran. Caring for veterans with dementia can be both rewarding and challenging. The VA has developed this training program to help you adopt a more positive approach to address veterans with dementia. In the following scenarios, you will first see a counterproductive way of approaching a veteran, followed by the preferred positive approach of engaging the veteran and addressing challenging behaviors. By learning positive skills and techniques, you will not only experience better outcomes, you will honor veterans in the twilight years of their lives.
You haven't changed yet? It's like we got work to do. Let me get some things to pretty you up. Now, where to begin? No, stop! No, stop! That hurts! Brushing your hair, deal. That hurts! Ow! No!
Oh, Jesus.
Hello, Mrs. Jones. I'm Angela. Looks like you're ready to get your day started. Mrs. Jones, would you like to fix your hair and put on some makeup? Okay, great. Let's just walk over here so we can find your hairbrush. Here, your hairbrush. Some lipstick. What would you like to do first? Do you want to brush your hair? Yeah.
So nice. Nice.
Okay, I wanted to be sure the sound is working.
I like how you're fixing your hair. It looks real nice. What's next? That color looks good. What would you like to do next? Sure, you can add a little blush. That'll add nice color.
Grooming tasks can turn into a major hassle or be a source of pleasure for veterans. Approach and cueing make a big difference. Systematic cueing involves giving step-by-step cues, increasing assistance as needed based on the veteran's response. See how the staff member begins with visual and verbal cues, and then, only when necessary, employs tactile cues. Visual cues are typically easier to process than verbal cues. Angela also uses hand under hand to get the veteran's attention and guide her to a place that is more familiar for grooming, such as a mirror and sink. Notice how the staff member uses hand under hand for grooming tasks as well. It allows the veteran to be more engaged and lets the staff member know early if there's a problem. Giving positive feedback to the veteran's choices also keeps Mrs. Jones engrossed in the process.
Morning, Mr. Hughes. Time to get ready for the day. Need to get dressed for breakfast, right? Eggs and sausage this morning. Let's see what we got in your closet. This'll work. What you think, Mr. Hughes? Oh, stop. Hey, stop. Come on. I need you to settle down now. Stop. You want to get dressed? Stop fighting. Stop. Morning, Mr. Hughes. Oh, I forgot you prefer Willie.
You tell me that I do not live no. Except I say that that's
I'm John. I'll be helping you today. I see you're already awake. Great. Can I help you with anything before breakfast? Maybe we can start with changing your clothes. Let me help you up. There we go. Good, Willie. All right, almost there. Let's see what you have to wear. Which shirt do you like? You want this one or this one?
This one, I don't remember that. Like me.
Which pants? This one or this one? Nice choice.
sleep like that.
What's next?
Your head there now.
Let me help you take off your PJs. Start with your button. Thank you for helping, Willie. Start with your right sleeve. You're doing great. It's hard with arthritis. Okay. You're right. Good. Thank you. I like this shirt on you. I really like the color. Oh. Good job, Willie.
This vignette demonstrates the value of the initial. physical approach. As you saw in the first scene, John was not able to establish much of a connection with the veteran. Willie remained upset throughout the interaction. In the preferred approach, John engages Willie using the positive physical approach. It's important to start some distance away, maybe 6 feet. Lift your hand to your face like saying hi or hey. Drop your hand as you approach, keeping the palm open. Pace yourself slowly. Take about a step per second so you don't startle the veteran. Stay to the side of the person at arm's length and accept the person's handshake. You also want to get down to the person's eye level without leaning in. Once you have made the connection in a supportive stance, offer the minimum assistance needed. In the preferred approach, John also uses fewer words because people with dementia may have trouble processing verbal information. He provides the veteran with simple choices and opportunities for the veteran to participate in, consistent with the veteran's level of cognitive function. John also uses the veteran's first name, Willie, instead of Mr. Hughes, because the staff have assessed that is how the veteran prefers to be called, by his first name. By following these steps, you engage the veteran, respect their choices, and increase the chance of a positive outcome.
Hello, Mrs. Jones. Look at you, still haven't touched your food. Well, let me feed you some lunch. Here we go, just mixing it up. Now, take a bite. Yum, isn't that good? Come on now, you know you need to eat for strength. Hey, Jasmine, you must be done checking vital signs. Looks like I'm going to be late to the staff meeting. I'm still with Mrs. Jones, who is taking her sweet time with lunch. Come on, honey, hurry up. Hello, Mrs. Jones. I'm Angela. May I join you for lunch?
Quick. The video wasn't finished yet.
Lunch looks pretty good. We have soup, salad, chicken, and dessert. What would you like first? Let's try the soup first. Will you pick up your spoon? Were you trying to have some soup? Here it is. Let's try it together. Looks like you enjoyed it. You ready for another sip? Looks like we can keep going.
Veterans with dementia retain more abilities than many may realize. Your approach and nonverbal behaviors can make a big difference. Because abilities can vary day to day, you should assess the veteran with each encounter. In the second scene, the staff member uses simple questions, directions, and systematic cueing to figure out what level of support the veteran needs. Rather than simply feeding her, the hand-under-hand technique provides a better eating experience as you help the veteran become more engaged with eating. Watch how well this hand-under-hand positioning works. Make sure to approach from the veteran's dominant side. Offer your hand palm up. Slide your thumb next to theirs and wrap your fingers under their wrist. Then use your fingers to grasp the spoon or other items. You may need to adapt for veterans with a hand deformity or dysfunction.
Okay. Let's get back. Okay, so that's all for that video. I guess we were able to learn one or two things from that. Were we able to learn anything at all?
Yes, Doc. You able to hear I learned.
Yes, ma. Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, that voice, the voice that just said yes, man. Now it's tired. Oh, which person's voice said yes? Oh my God, these people are really funny people. Okay. Yeah, because that voice resembled Taylor's voice. I said, yes, ma. Like, tired. Okay, don't worry. We are almost done. We are wrapping it up. So the reason I put that video, you would have it so you can take your time and watch it. It will help you see that the bottom line of care is just for you to be able to communicate and you have that amiable disposition, just as you've seen all those techniques. So the last thing we are going to do is we are going to look at safety and emergency responses. Very important. You know, even as we work, we should be conscious of the safety aspect of it. And safety is not just about maybe a set of procedures. It's about protecting lives, as we are already in the front line of protecting and saving lives. So lives of people who actually trust you to care for them as CNAs. So that is, think about maybe your loved ones, your parents, your grandparents, or your friends. What if they were in need? Wouldn't you want someone to act quickly and effectively to ensure their safety? Of course we would want. So hence, we have to get it right in the safety aspect. So we are going to look at the different aspects in safety. First, we have the PPEs, which you already know, the personal protective equipment. We have the hand gloves, you know, the nose mask, you can see there. The things that you use, it's your first line of defense against exposure to infectious maybe materials or germs or hazards. You know, so it's important that we learn the proper use of them. As you would see, your gowns, your scrubs, how to wear them, and your eye too. If you have to do protecting your eye is non-negotiable, depending on the particular work or shift you are, or the people you actually relate with. And we talked about the importance of proper hand washing that cannot be overemphasized. So PPE is very important to ensure our safety and the safety of the patient. We also have the fire safety and emergency procedures, also evacuation plan and emergency procedures. Most of the time when we walk around, maybe I go to some places, I see their fire extinguishers. Yes, they have fire extinguishers in hospitals, in locations, but you ask yourself, how many people actually really know how to use the fire extinguisher? That's the big question. Just there for compliance sake. Most people don't even know the type of fire extinguishers, how they are used, when they should be used, how it should be opened, you know, all those things. They don't even, if they are able to open it, they don't even know how to fight the fire, just to fulfill all righteousness. So it is very, very important. Familiarize yourself with the facility, the fire evacuation plan.
Allergy drugs, no man.
Oluwakemi, please help us. Oh.
What do you?
Please help us, Joe. Help us.
Let me know again.
So, let me see. So, know the location of fire alarms, where there are fire alarms in case of a fire, where there is fire extinguishers. Know the location of these things and know how to use them. Like, I tell people that there is nothing as good as knowledge. There's a very split second between life and death. So when there is an emergency, if help does not come, if first aid does not come to that person, we can lose the person. So you see that life and death is just one thin line that's in between. So we have to be very careful as we in the line of our duties. If there is an emergency, even in your home, maybe at your workplace, would you be able to brave up and then do what you need to do? You can't do it if you don't have the right knowledge. So it's important to have the right knowledge, know how to use fire extinguishers, know what to do when there is a fire, know where the fire, the emergency exits are in your workplace or in the hospital, anywhere that you work. Is very, very important. Understand too, they need to remain calm and not to shiver, not to fidget, not to be discontorted when there is an emergency, because what will give you that calmness is when you have the right knowledge. It's important. It's also advisable that people that are in the health sector should have a good knowledge of how to use fire extinguishers. Safety, first aid is very, very important. I did talk to my CHCA students, and I told them that for you to be a caregiver, for you to have a CNA certificate, for you to have a certified healthcare assistant certificate without a certification, telling your employers that you have the knowledge to carry out CPR, you have the knowledge to carry out first aid if the need arises in a situation, in a working situation, then you are not complete. It's like something that is not complete. That is just the truth about it. So even in this profession, there are other knowledges that you should acquire that will give you that edge that you are actually looking for. Take, for instance, like the mental health awareness certificate that will be added to you. That is one, because it will give you some inkling as to how to handle patients with different mental health challenges. It will give you it will act as a plus for you when you are actually in the job market. Likewise, some people go for emergency response training where you learn how to not to fight fire because you are not a firefighter, but how to use fire extinguishers, what to do in some scenarios when there is little fires that everybody should learn how to maybe fight, not the big one that we actually need the firefighter. So these things are very important. Leave as soon as the fire alarm is sounded. Wherever you are, you hear the fire alarm, you should leave. But the thing is, if you don't know the fire alarm, how will you leave? You can be in the place you are. Everybody will leave that facility. You are there because you don't know the meaning of the fire alarm. So these things are things that we need to learn. The fire alarm, when it's activated, the exit plan, which way are we going out if there's a fire? This is what to do. We should converge here at a muster point or muster station. All these things are very, very important. It is a training on its own, emergency response. So, but for the fact that we are on this, fire safety and emergency procedures is very, very important. Fire extinguishers, learn how to use it. The acronym, the PASS acronym, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. It's very simple. Anybody can know it. Pull the lead, aim the nozzle, squeeze. It's very simple. It's something that we should at least know so that we can meander these things. We know how to move around when there is an emergency. Responding to medical emergencies too. Be alert and aware of any sudden change in a patient's condition. We cannot talk about this. It keeps reoccurring. That's to show emphasis. Notify the nurse when you sense anything. Provide that emotional support like we started earlier. Provide basic life support. Very important. First aid. That's, if I want to talk about first aid, we'll not leave here today. It is important. And I'm glad that some people understand that it is a very, very serious and important requirement for any healthcare worker. If you have the first aid, you have the mental health, and you have the CNA, I tell you the truth. I don't know how to be. The sky will just be your stepping stone when it comes to employment, because you already have AAA, like A parallel with those certifications, because you have, anyhow, the knowledge is required of you in that health setting. You are up to the task, which is a plus to any employer. So now I'll quickly see if we have time. We actually have another video, but this should be we would have the time because this one is not long. So we'll have the time, but nevertheless, let's get to reporting. That video is going to help us understand the medical emergencies, what to do, and the importance, the detailed importance of first aid. You need to know, you need to know what to do at any situation. You don't need to panic. You don't need to fidget. What if something happens in your house? There's an emergency. Do you have what it takes to handle it? It's not even about being a CNA or working in a work environment. That is why first aid is important. That certification is very important. Okay, so reporting and documentation too, we've already talked about that. It's important that we document the things that we need, like we document anything that happens in the course of you rendering care. Report, document, don't be tired I don't say there's no point on safe conditions, because if someone gets wounded or injured, it will come back to you anyhow you see it. And if you are safety conscious and you see any loophole of anything that looks like that, you will act upon it. I just want to give you an illustration. Like I by the grace of God, I married somebody a man that is a safety engineer. Let me just say so. So when it comes to that time when he used to do all those safety things, I'll be like, why is my husband? He'll come, he'll say, why is this chair here? This chair is not supposed to be here. Somebody can find. And I'll just be wondering that this type of thing, what is the chair is on its own and can the person see the way to pass? All those things. But I've realized with knowledge, that's why I say knowledge is important. I realized that one little mistake, one little safety hazard that you don't curtail, nip in the bud, can result in loss of lives, and many people can get affected through that silly mistake of anybody that is in. So it is important that we are able to understand unsafe conditions, equipment. Maybe we are using BP machines, or we are using things, but we are going to be using maybe machines that fall within our job description. We should report malfunction. Something malfunctions, is not working again. Report, because that is safety. You are being proactive. You are being prepared. You are being alert. And then take part, get involved in safety drills. In drills. One day we had a test somewhere for safety reasons. We had to go and check. We had a drill, like we just said, let us know if this school, it was a school, let's know if they know what to do. So we sounded the alarm. And we expected that because they have said that they've been having drills and it has been following the standard we gave them, that immediately the alarm sounded, that the children will file out and the teachers will know exactly what to do. But unfortunately, they have filled all the forms and they have complied with the ticking of the forms, as it were. But when we actually took them on our ways to carry it practically, they failed. They failed woefully because they didn't used to have continuous trainings and drills to ensure that it's stampeded in the hearts of the children. They know what to do. Because children, once they know that when they hear that sound, they know what to do. They know what they file out, not to rush out so that there will be a stampede. No, they file out and other things. So that's why safety training and drill is important, especially in organizations, so that if there is any emergency, everyone will know what to do. That is very important. So finally, like I said, we have questions here, but what I am going to do is when you get the slide, you are going to have these questions. So this will be 1, 2, 3. This will be like your assessment in assessment for this week. We have assessments. So these are 3 questions, and then you have to tell me what you can do in these scenarios. How can you tell me? The group is open. Don't worry. It's not, I understand that we are tired and I'm not going to place you on your feet. Take your time. Before we have the training on Monday, put in your answers. Drop your answers there. In your opinion, what do you think? Pick any of them, 1, 2, 3, any of the questions. It doesn't have to be the 3. Just pick one and do justice to it. Drop your answer on the platform. That is your assessment. By Friday, when we don't have a training, do I have another training, pharmacy technician, but I would go through it and see and do justice to it because we don't have time. So at this point, in the next 5 minutes, because this video is just 5 minutes, let's do justice to it. We'll see an emergency situation and what was done, after which we call it a day. I think it's less than 5 minutes even, the video. So anybody that is tired should please just bear with me. We are done. It's just, I think it's 4 minutes video. So let's see what can be done, the importance of first aid, medical emergency, and how to act spontaneously and very fast to save life. Let's see. I hope. So let's do that.
Can you help me call the ambulance? Can you get an AD, please?
By people in all clothing from the patient down. Feel one place pad exactly as shown in the picture. Press firmly to patient's bare skin. No one should touch the patient. Analyzing. Shock advised. Press the flashing orange button now. Deliver shock now. Shock delivered. Be sure emergency medical services have been called. It is safe to touch the patient. Begin CPR.
What happened? We're running for legs, so we did CPR, and I gave him one shot from the AED. Now he's back. Okay, we'll take over. Don't worry, you will be fine. We will send you to the nearest hospital, okay?
Good. So that having said, I think we have done justice to today. You see, the reason I wanted to show you that video is to buttress what I told you, that there's a very thin line between death and life. So imagine a scenario where that guy is very happily moving around and fainted, and people around don't know what to do, to be shouting, oh, move away, oh, this one will move here, move here. So much confusion. But the right people that knew what to do at the right time sprung into action. Hence, knowledge is very important. So on that note, I don't want to exceed 9 p.m. with you on this platform. So thank you so much. Are we together? Did we even learn anything from the video? Did we see anything? Or we
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
Yes, ma, we did.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma'am.
exhausted.
Ma'am.
We have exhausted what we have for today. Do we have any question? Some people are tired. Some people are like, oh, this woman that can talk has just, oh, she doesn't want us to. Okay, Sarah, ask your question. You said you have one, I guess. Were you the one that said? Who has the question?
I have like an experience I had recently. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead, because I'm not hearing Sarah well. Go ahead,
Okay.
Ayoko.
This is Ayokumi talking, yes.
Hold on, Sarah, please hold on. It's cracking. So maybe when Ayokumi is done, maybe your network will know. I cannot hear anything from you, please, if you can hear me. Ayokumi, please, you go ahead.
Okay, it's a personal experience recently that I had with like a veteran that I was looking after. I was meant to attend to him. He called that I should come over at a particular time, which I wasn't there or something. So he told me on the phone. He made a statement on the phone, and that statement didn't make me go back to the man, which was scary, and I had to stop attending to him.
Wow.
So in a situation like that, I realized that, I didn't do the right thing, and I didn't know what to do, sincerely. He told me, okay, I gave him a time that was coming. He told me that he needed me to do 1 or 2 things for him when I come. He now said, when you're coming, ma'am, make sure you wear a sexy outfit. So you can imagine that, ma'am. So immediately he said that, I thought I didn't hear well. And I asked again, sorry, sir, what did you say? Just wear something sexy when you're coming. So I had to stop doing that. But I now realized, well, beginning of today's training lesson, I just thought I shouldn't have stopped attending to him. I should have just done something, but sincerely, I didn't know what to do.
Yes, the truth.
I had to stop going there. I didn't attend to him anymore. And in fact, I blocked him. And of course I blocked him, so he couldn't reach me anymore. I was worried and I was scared. On this side of the world I know if I do anything rational, somehow, I might get arrested or anything. So I thought the best thing for me was just to stay away.
Yes, perfect. You
I
did,
just
you
had to
did.
say it. So I mean, in that kind of situation, because the man is old, he's old, but he's fit. He's a veteran. He's old, but he's still strong. He just needed someone to help him around and all that. So what if I get there and he rapes or something? I mean, I didn't want anything like that to happen. So I just said to stay away.
Okay, Ayoko, you made me laugh at the end of today's training. Yes, these things happen. Inappropriate behavior or inappropriate. Yeah, sometimes you can even have a male that you work for, and maybe you're talking about that sexy outfit, you wear it and you pass and he hits you on your butt, or he begins to be funny. There are cases that it has happened. But at first, I would need to know if you work for yourself. But if you work from an organization, then what you would have done was to have reported.
I actually do it for myself. That's why. If it was an organization, I would have reported to the organization.
That's what I'm saying. That if it's maybe for an organization, it's very important that you report, because immediately the organization would look for an alternative, or maybe they can assign another person to him. And again, what I want us to understand is these people, like that man you said, someone may mistake him for an old man, but sickness does not, it has nothing to do with that side why you're coming. So exactly. he may be doing as if he doesn't have any energy or any strength. When he sees the sexy gown gown can give him the strength he's looking for. Maybe that's why he asked to do. Perhaps he didn't even want to do anything. He just wanted to see the sexy gown, and then the energy and the strength will come back to him, and he'll say, me. This is how I used to be. Let me test whether I still have the strength that I have. So it's very funny, Ayokumi. These things happen. It really happens. It is good you stayed away from him. If you had another thing I would have suggested is maybe you could have been a little bit mild in the aspect that if you know somebody, maybe if it was through somebody that you started working with him, or you have, in the course of working with him, you have people that, one or two persons that could maybe appeal to his sense of reasoning. That's the other angle you could have maybe explored. But it depends on if you actually had those people, or you actually had that plan B. But in the absence of that, it is important what you did is right, because outside there where you are, I know it's not like Nigeria. Nigeria, that side, there's even how they could even turn it on you that you were trying to molest a vulnerable person. What kind of a person are you? You wanted to do this or do that, and you wouldn't really. So I think you did the right thing in such circumstance. Another person would be if you have another person at the end, or maybe the person that he will not ask to wear the sexy gown, he will get another person. I believe so. So I think you did the right thing. In my own opinion, that's what I think. Thank you, Ayo, for sharing that with me. Thank you so much. Sarah, I don't know if I can hear you now. Hello, Sarah, because I wasn't hearing you and I wouldn't want to miss what you wanted to say. Hello, Sarah.
Okay, hi.
Okay, please, you can try to say what you want to say. It was not audible, so I couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, but you can hear me now, ma?
I can hear you now. Yes, it's better.
Okay. I was actually trying to make a contribution, a question I wanted to ask, but in that video we watched, the person that helped, the treatment he used, I don't know what that's in the person was the CPR actually, but I don't know if CNA is supposed to go around with such equipment anywhere you're going to in case of anything that comes up, because looking at that environment where that thing happens, it's not an hospital. It's just maybe a gathering.
Okay.
So does it mean that as a CNA, you're supposed to go out with those things, like go prepared? I know you have to prepare for anything that can come up, but that particular thing he used, I don't know if you're supposed to be going around.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I think I understand what you are saying. In the last video we watched, I guess. Yes. Now, the reason I put that video for you is for you to understand that a certified nursing assistant, you need to have first aid knowledge. It's very important. First aid. It doesn't mean you have to move around with those things. Of course, the CPR the man carried out, he used his hands to do the CPR. Then the other machine is called AED. It's called an automatic external defibrillator. That's what it is. External defibrillator. That is the meaning. As you see, when that incident actually happened, the man rushed to get that machine. That machine is not used everywhere. It's used for people that maybe you need to shock the heart, to return back for an unconscious person. So that is what that machine does. And the machine is self-explanatory. It gives you the instructions. It tells you what to do. Very, very important. It tells you what to do. So you just follow the prompts that it tells you. Say, remove the shirts, do this automated external defibrillator. That's what it is. Once you set it in motion, it works. Most of the places we go around, we have it automated, not automatic. I made a mistake, please. Automated external defibrillator. That is what it is. It is used to shock the heart because sometimes you can do the CPR and then the CPR is not working. So the next thing you do is to get the AED. In most organizations, they have that AED. Like you see, it was in a case. They closed it. And that is what still buttresses what I told you, that when you're working in a facility, know where to get the safety equipment. You see, like that thing happened immediately. The person that went to get it just went straight because he knows where it is. But in a situation whereby the CPR does not work and they have to use the automated external defibrillator on the person to help shock the heart back, and they are going to look for it, is here. They don't know where it is. You are just moving, having a goose. I don't even know the grammar to use at this point, so it's important to know where these things are located. So as a CNA, it doesn't mean you should move around with AED. No, they did not even move around with it. They went to get it. It's in strategic places that are kept for people. So the thing is to have the knowledge. Now, if you have the knowledge of how to use the AED, you have the certification of the CPR and first aid. If there is any emergency, you know that this is what you're supposed to do. You will not fidget. If you have first aid knowledge and maybe you are cooking in the kitchen and your daughter or you cut your hand in the course of cutting vegetable or doing something, you know what to do. You will not just fidget and, immediately you arrest the blood. You press on it. You pat that place and press on it so that it can make the blood not to come out, not to for you to lose blood, and, rinse it under the tap. So these are things we are talking about. In this case, take, for instance, the people that knew what to do were not available. It would have been disastrous. So when you learn the first aid and CPR, you get to know that even as a healthcare practitioner, you should not lose guard. You should always have your first aid box because you can handle little emergencies with the contents that are in your first aid box with the right training. But I don't want us to overflock it because we'll actually get to first aid and CPR. And when we do the practicals of it, I think it will be clearer. So that's fine, Sarah. You're welcome. So do we have any other question? Any contribution? If none, I hand over to Andy Smart Solutions. I think tomorrow is the last day for this week. We had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So by tomorrow, we are going to have the last training. And when you would have the slides for today and to be put together with the recorded version, because we do a lot of editing in the recorded copy that we give to you to make it perfect for you. So hence the time. So you get it as soon as possible.
Something I'm not really getting.
Pardon?
Yes. There is a scenario somebody wants to report that do I call it a healthcare assistant anyway? Was together with her patient, and at that meeting, I think there was no nurses there close by or doctors can complain to. So like the patient fell down, and instead of her to go rush, maybe go look for a doctor, she was confused, and the next thing she did was start praying. And because of the confusion, she just feel like, okay, let's do it. Because I started praying on the patient, and before we know it, the patient died, and she was arrested for negligence.
You
So
see?
at that point, I think
You see, that's the sad story. That's why that's the most important aspect of the CPR and first aid that we talked about. Because if that nurse or that person knew what to do, you will not stay and pray. You can do the first aid and be praying inside your heart, but do what you have to do because time is ticking. Time is ticking, and the 1 single second that you leave that person in that state, it can compound the situation. So it is important. I don't mean you do with MJ, with Andy Smart Solutions. So you don't say this doctor is marketing, but do anywhere you may wish to do it. It is important that you have a certification in first aid and CPR. If you add it to your CNA, you add it to your mental health, there is no place, except the person doesn't know a good thing, there is no place you need a job that is within your confines and you will not stand a better chance. So I tell people, so that you don't go and be like blind Bartimaeus when there is an emergency. Sometimes you see accidents and then people are around. Not even one person can actually carry out CPR or arrest blood or do anything. You see people shouting, they will move to the left, to the right, confusion. Even the confusion will even kill the person before the actual death even comes. So it's important that we learn what we have to learn. So on that note, thank you so very much. I want to wish everybody a beautiful night rest as I hand over to MJB Management and Andy Smart Solutions. Thank you.
All right, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful time. We'll spend 4 hours plus. Okay, yes, we'll spend 3 hours plus.
Okay,
I
thought
want
you
to
said 4
appreciate
hours.
it so much. No, we spent 3 hours plus. So it has been a wonderful time. It has been interactive. Let me ask our participants, is there any challenge? Is Mrs. Dorothy carrying everybody along?
The best.
Very well. Very
Very
well.
well.
Okay. That means
Very well. It's good. Everything is good.
okay, that means you are actually having value for your money, right?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. More value
Thank
than the money paid.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes.
So much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I
I'm
feel
happy
so
to hear
good.
that. In fact, BCC UK will hear this. We hear this. Thank you so
Getting more
much. I
information
appreciate
than
it.
one
I'm
paid.
happy to hear this.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you. Doctor, are you hearing this? Dr. Mrs.
I'm
Dorothy,
here.
are you
You
hearing
have made
this?
me to go. In fact, this thing that I've heard now, I don't even know whether I'll sleep this night because I'll just be remembering it. I'll be waxing in the euphoria of all these recommendations, and
Exactly.
that's what will happen. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Good night. We'll meet again tomorrow.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
To say to 12 o'clock. Mommy, I want to ask.
Thank God,